The 15th Legion of Space Marines, the Thousand Sons, is a cursed and broken legion. Led by their Primarch, Magnus the Red. They are most well known for their psychic might and their quest for knowledge, sanctioned or otherwise. During the Great Crusade, the 15th would expand their knowledge in their conquests of the galaxy for the Emperor of Mankind, favoring worlds with more esoteric reputations. Yet as their knowledge grew, so too did their reputation. Soon even their brothers and other legions would grow in distrust, particularly amongst the Vilca Fenrica, the Space Wolves. This would ultimately lead to their humiliation at the Council of Nicaea, where they would be forbidden the use of their psychic powers. However, what the Wolves of Fenris did not know was that the Thousand Sons bore an even darker secret, the flesh change. For reasons unknown even to themselves, warriors of the Legion would mutate suddenly and violently into monstrous killers, setting upon both brother and foe alike. In spite of this, however, the Thousand Sons would remain loyal to the Emperor and his growing Imperium. Even as the Horus Heresy began, Magnus would attempt to warn the Emperor. In his haste, however, he would disrupt the Webway project, allowing untold numbers of demons within. Believing only the betrayal of Magnus himself, the Emperor would enact his judgment upon the Thousand Sons, unleashing the Space Wolves upon Prospero. Prospero burned. Beaten and decimated, the Thousand Sons retreated to the planet of sorcerers within the Warp. Damned by their Primarch and betrayed by the Emperor, the Thousand Sons would rebuild their strength and dedicate themselves fully to the Chaos God, Tzeentch. With access to a truly unfathomable amount of knowledge, some within the Legion would see an opportunity, attempting to end the terror of the flesh change once and for all. Former Chief Librarian Armin would gather some of the most powerful sorcerers within the Legion and cast the rubric of Armin in secret. Indeed, the ritual was successful, but at a great cost. Whilst free from the flesh change once and for all, most of the warriors of the 15th be reduced to dust, now entombed within their armor and little more than semi-thinking automata. Now in the era Indomitus, the Thousand Sons have once more set forth from their hellish world in search of knowledge or simple power. In the 10,000 years of the Long War, they have grown their psychic power, yet the Legion has been broken and devolved into independent warbands, often warring amongst each other as much as with the Imperium, just as Tzeentch intended. To quote, "Reality warps to our design. You are pawns, blind and ignorant to your lowly place in Tzeentch's cosmic scheme." End quote. Magnus the Red.
So here we are today to give you the full rundown of what our, specifically his, thoughts are of this new codex. So, Chris, what is... Give me the bluff, the bottom line up front. What's your initial impression of it?
So overall with the codex, I'm not saying very impressed, but I am very happy with the book. It's 120 pages. Half of those is lore and showcase for the actual Thousand Sons. If you don't know a lot, it is a good chunk of lore that you can dig into to look into. I know this is not the part that everybody cares about, but if you are curious about the lore, they did add some a little bit more to the lore, going a little bit, tiny bit in depth about the cults. Maybe I wish they had a little bit more, and they also folded in Tzeentch demon lore along with it, since if you don't know, in this book you also have the Tzeentch demons data sheets in here.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, not many people read the lore, but I feel like the lore is like the really reason that we play this game. Okay, yes, the rules are good and everything, but there's a bunch of games out there. The lore is the reason why we play these games. The lore is what brings us back to this game and why we want to play it.
So it's like one of the big things is like, a lot of people argue, it's like, why should you care about the lore? And some people, it's like, well, you should buy the codex to actually have the lore on you as well. Just so like you can have a brief explanation about what the Thousand Sons are about. What are their 9 cults of change? Why do they work with demons? Who is Tzeentch? That's a fun one.
What is Tzeentch?
What is Tzeentch? How art thou, Tzeentch? Where? 9.
Why is Tzeentch?
So, it's a good overview about the lore. I know it's not everybody's thing, but it is there. kind of blending into it as well with the showcases. I do wish they had a little bit more on the showcase of paint wise, because the Thousand Sons, we know them as the blue Marines from the Chaos Legions, but you know, back in the day they also ran candy apple red. Like that was their old original Legion paint scheme, and it's not really shown in here, which is kind of a shame.
Well, they don't want to admit that they're going through a midlife crisis.
Yeah, and then
right. No,
also
you don't get the candy apple red until you go through the midlife crisis.
Yeah, and it's like with the 9 cults, I wish they put those a little bit more in detail, because it gives you more ideas on paint schemes instead of just, you should paint them blue. Like,
does this, so I remember it, so I started this game in 5th edition with my Tau, right?
Yeah.
It was fun. Doesn't matter. We're not going to age me right now. I remember those books were really good about, here's all the different paint schemes for all these different sects and everything, or septs and everything. Here's how you would paint it. I have not seen that yet. Does this actually have like a how to paint things, or is it just showcase the minis? It's in
the how to paint is in the combat patrol.
Oh.
And that's it. It just shows you how to paint and it's a good simple way to paint it if you're not a painter. It's like, if you're going to start an army, you should start with a codex, and then, because they have ways how to paint if you really want to look up. You also have YouTube too. You have options to learn how to paint. I just wish in the book they showed a little bit more on different warband schemes, or like the cult schemes, because not everybody just wants to paint blue. And also, Thousand Sons are probably one of the hardest armies to paint. So,
because do you like trim?
Do you like a lot of gold trim?
Do you like trim? Do you like working with metallics?
Like just for an instance, like one of the characters is the brightest gold that you'll ever have on a Chaos Space Marine model, and it's everywhere. So if you're not prepared to paint a lot of trim, it gets daunting.
Yeah, it does seem like it kind of tells you, like, it does explain like how you should do that. Like, you should start with the gold, then you should do the armor plate. So that chaos kind of nice. But yeah, looking through this, I would agree. It would be nice if they showed a couple of the other cults as far as colors were concerned. Right.
So it's just I just wish there was more color schemes. I think the lore is good. They added demon lore. Other than that, I think the lore, if you're getting into Thousand Sons and you just want a little easy book, best way to do it.
All right, so that's all well and good. You know, new lore, we have some of the paint stuff, you know, some things we could do better, but not all this lore is new, right?
Yeah.
A lot of this is old lore, so really the main reason why you need this book is because the rules have been updated, probably for the better, but I'm having a little trouble understanding the rules myself. Could you explain to me what is going on with this army rule situation here?
What's going on?
Words, 1.
Oh, that's hard. Okay.
2, numbers. So, for all you old heads, or for your Age of Sigmar players, 9th edition and Age of Sigmar has the psychic phase. That has kind of returned.
Guess who's back?
Yeah, it's back, but it's in a little bit of a different way. So you roll 2d6 to do a psychic check, like you did before. There's a little bit of tweaks to it, which I'll go over real quick. You have to meet or beat a number specific to that spell. So you pick a spell at the top of your shooting phase. You go and pick a target wherever you want to cast a spell. You roll a 2d6. You have to meet or beat that number to cast it. There is a low number, and then there's a high number. If you get the low, it's like a lower power of the strength. If you get the high number, you get the max power of the power of that spell. And in doing so, when you roll a 2d6, you can also roll an additional d6 as well. But if you roll any doubles or triples, once you roll that additional d6, your unit takes d3 mortal wounds. It's a very powerful ability. And there's ways to manipulate it to make it where you're able to roll without taking those devastating wounds on top of pluses to casting.
Now, I do have one question before we continue. Okay, so if you roll a double or a triple, you take D3 mortals, right?
Correct.
Is that only if you channel the warped, or is that whenever?
So they FAQ'd it, it's only if you channel the warp now. So you can roll the 2d6 And if you get those doubles, but you didn't cast that max charge, the moment you roll that third die, you take D3 mortal wounds. Yep.
Okay.
So you're risking the chance to take mortal wounds. When you roll those 3 dice.
And you have to roll the 3 together, or can you roll the first 2 and then drop the third?
So you can. So with how it says, you can roll the first 2 dice to see what the cast value is, and then you can choose to add the third die. That is a very, very powerful way to see how you would want your spell to go. You're still banking on the chance that you're trying not to roll any triples or doubles, because D3 mortal wounds to your own unit still sucks. It's not terrible, but it still hurts, especially when you start dwindling down your rubrics and your scarab occults and your sorcerers and even Magnus himself down wounds.
Yeah, because with 2 dice you have a 1 in 6 chance of rolling doubles. With 3 dice you have.
It skyrockets.
Yeah,
it skyrockets.
I'm not doing the mental math.
Yeah, it's
trust me, I can do math.
Going over them, there's 4 spells. The first one is, would you mind reading that for me, Scott?
The first one is Destiny's Ruin of their child.
Yep, it is a casting
Just
value.
the ruin, not the child.
It is a casting value of 5. The bonus casting is a 10. On the small cast, you can pick a target, rerolling 1s to hit for the entire army. If you get the 10 plus on your 2d6 or 3d6 if you choose to channel the warp, it is a full rerolls to hit against that target. It is a very good ability. It's very reminiscent of Oath of Moment for Space Marines, except you actually have to get a Psyker to look at a squad and cast it on 24 inches, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So it's a very good amplifier to your shooting, because if you don't know, Thousand Sons are a very shooting army. They have some melee, but shooting is predominantly their most used component of the game.
Aside from your new pseudo psyker phase.
Correct. Going into, would you read what the next one is?
Next is Temporal Surge.
Yep. Temporal Surge is a casting value of 6, and I believe the double value is 11.
The double value is only 10.
It's only 10. There it is.
Okay.
So, Temporal Surge lets you be able to, in the start shooting phase, double move a unit. The casting value of 6, it allows you to move D6 inches. If you reach that 10, it is a movement value of 6 inches instead. So it's a good way to manipulate your way onto the board, move your units out of the way. And one of the most handy things, and it doesn't come up very often, if you're very worried about that unit being overwatched, just cast that spell and have them move in the shooting phase. It does say... yeah. Not a lot of people think about that. I've done it for LVO tournaments before.
Because does Overwatch specifically say movement or charge phase?
It says movement or charge. Yeah.
Nuts. Okay.
So a little bit of, you're playing Zeech, you're scheming, use it to your advantage. Also, I believe it does say as a limitation, you cannot charge after. So
which is
completely
standard. Yeah.
You're
I
basically
see that with a lot of rules.
Yeah,
like
you're
that.
basically teleporting. That is your shtick. The next one, which is probably one of the more spicy out of the 4,
Doom Bolt.
is a it is a casting value of 7. The spike number is on an 11, and put simply, pick a target, D3 mortal wounds. If you roll an 11 for your cast, D3 plus 3 mortal wounds. Yeah, you can see how it gets out of hand really quickly. Luckily, though the restriction is with all these spells, you can only cast once. You can only cast them once per turn. So you can't just keep stacking Doom Bolt. There's a way around it with an enhancement, but we'll get to that.
Now, is it attempt to cast or successfully cast once per turn?
Successful cast.
Oh,
so you
okay.
can
So
you can screw up Doom Bolt,
if you
and then you
whip
have your
it,
next sorcerer do it. Yeah.
You could, in theory, do at least 10 mortal wounds to yourself trying
Correct.
to do these things and failing.
Correct. You can 100% mess up and keep giving yourself mortal wounds. And it does say, in addition to, if you cast these spells and the model that casts the spell fails, even though they succeeded the cast, or like the model himself dies, even though you succeeded the cast, it's over. It's considered a failed cast.
Wait, does the mortal have to go to like this, like, because the squad sergeant for rubrics, they're a psyker. Does it specifically have to go to them?
No. So that's a thing that I was reading about that I clarified that before I believed before the codex, I thought it was towards sergeants and characters and stuff like that. Makes sense. No, it's the unit. Now, probably the most infamous out of them all, other than Doombolt, is Twist of Fate. It is a casting value of 9, so you gotta start actually rolling high for this. So it starts incentivizing you actually rolling that third die just to get the minimum value of this, and a ritual value of 12 plus for the spiked variant.
Oh, so you only need 3 more.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a hard roll.
It's a hard roll.
It's a hard roll.
It's a hard roll, but the delta between the two isn't that. Between the little and big version is not that high.
Yeah, but it's probably one of the more powerful ones, honestly, other than Doombolt, because you roll a 9, 1 additional AP on a target that you're shooting at. You roll that 12, it's 2 AP. We'll get to later on the data sheets. Infernal bolters are just naturally AP2. Do you like Meltagun AP values of just bolters? And there's a lot of them. This becomes a very big problem once something gets spiked with Twist of Fate.
Now, is there any reason why you can't do Twist of Fate and Destiny's Child on the same unit?
No, you can 100% do that.
What's the range on those?
24. They're both 24 and visible to the target. Or visible to the bear, or the caster. So, yeah, you can 100%. So one of the big things is, what I do is Magnus, he will cast Doombolt and Twist of Fate because of his buffs to his casting. I would always just throw him forward to be able to get those spells to cast. And then I would have the other two, which are a little bit easier to cast by other psychers, and then usually roll that third die in. Your goal is to try and get these as spiked as much as possible without trying to kill yourself as fast as you can with your mortal wounds.
Well, I mean, as Thousand Sons, you could do us the favor and blow your brains out. Like I think that's fine. I don't think anybody would be opposed to that.
It's very Siechian, and it's very old school psyker rule of, hey, you gotta be good at casting spells or you're gonna pay for it. The warp, you may reach into the warp, but the warp may reach back and take you with it. So it is a very fun, fluffy, it is a very fun and fluffy rule, and honestly, very, very powerful if we're talking meta-wise. Because before it used to be Cabal sorcerers, you used to count up the points in order to cast, but that made lists very streamlined. And you brought sorcerers, Magnus, Armin, rubrics, and scarab occults. You brought nothing else to max out all those points. This one is a little bit more a chance. So you roll the dice and a chance, but you don't have to bring excessive amounts of sorcerers and rubrics and terminators anymore. You still can, but like you're more encouraged to bring tanks, vehicles, monsters, spawn, Zangors. For God's sake, Zangors, because if you didn't have 80 of them, you're about to. But yeah, that is the army rule for the Thousand Sons.
And you
honestly
seem to like it a bit better than the old one.
I like it more.
The old one kind of encouraged that like single, like this is how you play it.
Yeah, I like this more because before it used to be just Cabal sorcerers. This one makes you feel like you're casting the spells. So I would go with, I like this more just because it feels like you feel like a battle psyker more than you actually just adding up points. So yeah, Thousand Sons army rule, great. I love it.
All right, so army rule sounds great. It sounds like over the index, we are a lot better off, right? Well, the index, and I guess Grobness, we had 2 detachments. Index detachment gone. Now,
Technically reworked,
which would be Grand Coven, right? Well, what's going on with Grand Coven?
So prior to this, the index was Cult of Magic. Before, at the start of the command phase, you picked your one of 3 abilities that you want psychic weapons to have. It used to be Sustain, Lethal, and Devastating for psychic weapons. You always pick Devastating. It's just, you always did.
Yeah. Yeah, Devastating is better than the rest of those. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's
yeah.
just
So
better.
just flat devastating for all psychic weapons, which most of them already were. You just were covering all bases. Plus, before they used to put the infused fuselage. I can't remember how to say it. Basically, you turn bolters into psychic weapons, and now your bolters are devastating. Mm-hmm. Who knew how strong that could be with Terminators? They changed that. Now it is the Grand Coven. While they still have the pick one, your psychic weapons get that for the turn in your command phase. Now it's only once per game for army-wide. So you can pick psychic weapons have 6 inches additional range. You can have psychic weapons have +1 to wound, or the spicy psychic weapons are devastating for the turn.
Which, okay, it's good that it's only once per game.
Yeah, so...
because that can be a little poo-poo. That can lead to a bad time, as they say.
Yep, so a lot of people forget, too, is most of the psychers usually already have devastating. You're just covering in all the rest of the bases. So, it's a good way to kind of like, Magnus is going to charge this turn, or you're going to have Terminators charge this turn. Devastating or +1 to wound for those is a good option.
Oh, it's not just for shooting.
No, it's the turn.
Reading's hard.
So you just flat out make your psychic weapons good for that turn. It's only 3, so if you get too greedy with it, turn 1 or turn 2 or whatever, you'll miss out on it. If you don't do it early enough, there's a little bit of having yourself a little bit of foresight as a general playing this game to use it. Again, most of these psychic abilities for most of the models are already good to begin with. You're just kind of filling in the bases where you think you need the tools more. There's also a stratagem that also lets you pick a unit, and you can pick one of those 3 just for that unit for the turn.
Okay, and that doesn't use the once per battle.
Yeah, so it doesn't use the once per battle. So let's say you want to use devastating, but you don't want to use the whole devastating. You can still put Magnus on full devastatings or +1 to wound or wherever. Yeah, it can be gross if done correctly and good timing with it. Going into their enhancements, they got some good ones. Could you read off that first one for me?
We got the Lord of Forbidden Lore.
Which, that one, could you actually read that one for me?
Thousand Sons model only. Just so you know, can't put it on your Emperor's Children. Just
or your demons.
Tracking, or your demons, but we'll get to that. Each time the bearer manifests a ritual, while resolving that ritual, add 6 inches to its range. So all of your 24-inch stuff, is it all 24
is now 36 inches. Or now it's 36. 30 inches, sorry.
Calm down, only 6. You calm down. You're not allowed to bully people that much.
I'm used to the Monolithic Vortex Beast doubling. That's why.
What? We'll get back to that.
It didn't do that.
We'll unpack it. Okay. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Incandi, that's not a real word. Incandeum.
Incandeum.
Incandaeum.
I believe it's an actual book of lore for the Thousand Sons.
That's not a real word, James Workshop. I'm watching you. Okay, but once per battle, when selecting a ritual, which is the thing. Oh no, the ritual is the spells themselves.
You cast the spells in the beginning of shooting phase.
You can select Doombolt even if a model from your army. So it gives you a second Doombolt.
Correct. You can cast Doombolt twice.
Oh, but only once per battle.
Yeah, and it's only for one specific character, if you notice.
So you can have
an Exalted Sorcerer, specifically him, cast it twice. So if you're trying to squeeze it by, it kind of incentivizes you to bring an Exalted Sorcerer versus the other 2 or other 3 characters that you could bring that are not named for rubrics. Because he's still pretty good. I understand where other people see that they want the other characters more instead.
Yeah, you can only bring 3 enhancements.
I bring that because that one's just good.
Yeah, that one's just good.
That one's just good. The next one is, I believe it's my favorite.
The Umberlefic Crystal.
My favorite enhancement. The Thousand Sons. Being warp shenanigans and teleporting is just a very Thousand Sons. This one lets you be able to pick up a unit in the start of the command phase, and the reinforcement step of the next movement phase, you could drop them down. This works very well with Terminators. And it doesn't say a restriction of when you can. You can do this turn 1. So you can pick up a 10-man block of Terminators in your backfield and throw them down at the backfield of the battlefield to harass whoever you want with a 10 block Terminators.
Which that's pretty good. Uppy Downies is always a good ability to have. It gives you a lot of flexibility for secondaries.
Yeah.
Especially because the timing on this, because it is in your command phase, you know what your secondary is, and you know, okay, I got an uppy and then downy.
Correct. Or if you play like how I play Thousand Sons, I play very aggressive. Lobbing Terminators turn 1 to someone's face is not a fun time, period. Plus with these Terminators, they're -1 to wound now, so long as the Psyker's in it. So they're having them to harass. Also, if you really want to play, and also if you play Rubric heavy, it's also very good on Rubrics, because then you could just lob a Rubric squad full of Flamers at somebody that's on an objective.
Surprise.
It could get gross. It is depending on how aggressively you want to be while you play. Now the very last one, and this one's still a very good generic one that you can run.
The Eldritch Vortex of a Tough.
A tough. I think it's a tough. I think it's a demon. I don't know.
It's the Insane Magister Atoph was consumed by his own ritual. His death created a semi-sentient vortex. So it's the semi-sentient vortex soul of this guy who bit off more than he can chew.
Yeah, it's very Thousand Sons. So
Yep.
So very simple. +1 strength and damage to psychic for the bearer. So giving that to an Exalted Sorcerer is good. A Terminator Sorcerer, Infernal Master's really good. The one I think that this one is really good on is just a standard Sorcerer, and we'll get to why. Because the standard Sorcerer just once per game going Shotgun Blast is terrifying. You're reading his stat line, aren't you?
Yeah, no, we're not jumping the gun here. We don't do that. We don't do that here. We read from left to right, page after page. We never skip ahead. That's not my toxic reading trait at all.
Trust me, I'm bad about it too. Maybe you are a Thousand Son at heart, Scott.
I'm something.
But going on to stratagems, we have some very good ones, some very niche situation dependent, which is just fine. I do wish in general codexes just had more stratagems per detachment. 6 is fine.
6 is fine.
6 is fine.
Especially thinking back to 8th, how many of your stratagems in your codex did you actually use in 8th? What percentage?
Not a lot, but I do like having tool bags. Stuff like that. No, I didn't use every single one of them, but the 1 or 2 chance where it's oh, this actually might work, and try using it is fun. But 6 stratagems is fine.
Yeah.
Starting off with the first one, this is when it's a tool bag one. I played Grey Knights recently, and this was very handy against it. So,
the Psychic Dominion.
This one is a very simple one, and I believe you don't have to target a Psyker model with it. It's just Thousand Sons.
Yep. 1,000 Sons unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more attacking units' attacks. Then to the end of the phase, psychic weapons equipped by models in the attacking unit have hazardous, so you can make them blow up.
You can make them blow up,
and you get a 4-up feel no pain.
And you get a 4-up feel no pain. That one's huge, especially if you run up against another Thousand Sons, Eldari, and or Grey Knights, which is very prominent. The hazardous doesn't kick off as much, but the 4-up feel no pain, it works. It works very well. Just because most of the time they're usually damage 2 or 3, or psychic weapons are usually very powerful to begin with, and having a feel no pain against it's very handy. It's niche, it's nice.
It's 1 CP.
It's 1 CP, so
yeah, sure, okay.
But the next one you're going to abuse the hell out of if you're not running against another psychic army.
Are we talking about next one going down? And
going down.
Right. Okay, great. Destined by Fate.
This one's annoying. Pick a psychic model that you own that took damage and failed a saving throw. Turn that damage to 0. It even calls out fast rolling, how you should use it while fast rolling.
Oh, that's nice. I don't really see that very often.
Yeah, so they actually specifically call out to it.
If you're using fast dice rolling, select one of those attacks you failed. So you get to roll everything, you know whether or not you failed, and all right,
Yeah, this one's 0 damage.
Yeah, okay.
So if you run up against a Meltagun or Repulsor Executioner with its big blast cannons, and Magnus gets domed, because you're going to use this on Magnus the most, you can turn it to 0 damage. It's a very handy. I abuse it a lot because it's just that good. Because if you're not running against opponent psychers, you're going to use this. The next one,
and I will say that says any phase. So any of your phase or your opponent's phase.
So if they overwatched.
If you get domed in the head by random Overwatch, because that never happens on this channel. We never have weirdly popping off Land Raider Overwatches. But if you did, it'd be good for that.
So like last game, I played against the Iron Hands from our other player, Jeff, and having that in a tool bag when he has huge damage output from a singular gun is very handy. So going into the next stratagem.
That one is egotistical power. Another 1 command point. Are all these 1 CP?
It's all but one, except for the one that really matters.
Okay, well, this one's also 1 CP. Your command phase, 1,000 Sons Psyker unit from your army. Select the imbued manifestation, and that's Psychic Maelstrom or, okay, so that's the one where you get to pick one of your detachment special buffs and use it on the guy, on one thing in particular.
Basically, your sorcerer canted the spell and before everybody else and said, I know what I'm doing, and can give himself devastating, +1 to wound, or 6 inches to range for his psychic weapons. I'm not going to say it's niche because it's very handy.
Yeah.
Because specifically, dropping Magnus in with that, when you don't want the whole army to do it because you don't see a good reason why, when Magnus is in range, when you know you can get Magnus in range or a certain sorcerer's in range, or let's say you're gonna do additional 6 inches to all psychics, and then you pop that on a unit that you don't really care with that about, it's handy. It's actually very handy.
Yeah, and it just gives you another option. All these abilities are good to have, and you can still use them. You still do this even after you do one of these guys.
Yeah, so it's a very good stratagem, and it's very handy. Just being able to put a psyker into devastating or +1 to wound is very helpful. Going into the next one, because also the 6 inches is kind of like a sleep on for at times, but most spellcasters are only 18 inches anyways. It's a good way to get them in range. So.
Are any of the spells rapid fire?
No.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
There's some stupid ones with sustained that we'll get into later, but we'll get there.
All right, next we have the Desecration of Worlds, also 1 CP.
Sticky objective.
Oh, that's always...
I believe even if you don't have to die for it, it's just I leave my deployment zone, I make it sticky, and I leave.
Yeah, well, that's always nice to have.
Yeah.
Especially if you're running a more elite army, you don't want to have to leave something behind.
Correct.
To just babysit.
On top of if you're playing a game and no one's going to deep strike, they don't have that ability.
Yeah.
Just popping that turn 1 and leaving is huge.
Yeah, like useless against GSC. A lot of other matchups is pretty good.
Yeah. Next one.
Next we have Arcane Focus, another 1 command unit point strat.
So this one actually affects your spellcasting specifically. When you do your spellcasting, you can re-roll all of your dice for your spells, for your Cabal sorcerers, your spellcasting, including the additional d6 that you added. So let's say you rolled your 2 dice and then you add your d6 and they were all just 1s, and you don't want to just take devastating or mortal wounds and leave. You can pop that for 1 CP and re-roll everything to see if maybe you got it better.
Yep, and it does say it's re-roll all of the d6. So
Correct.
You can't be like, these 2 are 1s, we'll re-roll just those 2. Nah, it's like,
yep, you re-roll
the entire thing.
You're playing Yahtzee again. Play craps, have fun.
Craps.
Now the last one, this one is
Devastating sorcery for 2 command points.
Yep.
Count them 2.
So you got to build up for this. You do got to build up for this, but the effects is very powerful. Adding 9 inches to any psychic weapons is decent. It's the re-rolling all hit rolls and wound rolls for psychic weapons equipped by the bearer for I believe the phase, because it's only the shooting phase. I believe is that one.
Yep. Until the end of the phase.
Is it just shooting or is it
just shooting?
Just shooting.
So just your blasty boys, no melee.
Yep.
Stop that. Oh, that's mean. Well, also, I guess it wouldn't make sense. Why would you add 9 inches to a melee attack?
Yeah, well, that's why I was confirming. But there's only one person you're really going to cast it on, unless situation depends on you cast it somewhere else. It's Magnus. You have Magnus rerolling all hit rolls and wound rolls, and if you do it with a combination of making his other psychic shooting, because he has two different types of psychic shots, devastating, he can get really stupid real quick, and he can just nuke something off the table. He's very good at it, and even if he doesn't kill it, he still has a really, really big sword to swing at something. So,
what does it count as a sword? It's more of a
staff.
Like a staff, almost like a halberd.
I mean, he does have a sacrificial blade that you can alter his kit with instead of a staff.
Shut up.
But no, that is the Grand Coven. It is a very last thoughts on it is it's your generic one. It's supposed to benefit you. I bought a bunch of Rubrics and Terminators, and I may or may not have Magnus. Because regardless, you're playing Thousand Sons, you're going to have Psychers. This is just a good buff to your list. Or buff to any list, really. But if you're just starting, this is probably the one that you're going to run the most.
All right, next we have the one that is probably the controversial one, right? Well, not really this one specifically. It's just the direction that we're going with these that is controversial. That would be the change host of Deceit.
So, probably the most fluffy out of them all. And there's 2 detachments in here, as if you already play Sigmar, these are probably the first 2 you're going to play, just because of the models you own, if you're playing Disciples as each. This one is a fun one. No, this is an additional core rule, but it's specific kind of more to this detachment is, could you turn to that page? Because I actually forgot how it's pronounced.
Scintillating Legions.
Yep. So
that word's real. That one.
It's a real word.
It's a real word. We're not making words up this time. It still just sounds weird to say.
Clever, cunning, or deceitful.
Scintillating.
It's actually really cool.
Scintillating. That's your dollar word for the day.
Now you can call people out for stuff.
You're very scintillating today.
So this one's fun. This one actually goes into more of the core rules of now you can ally demons in as an attachment and they get buffs for it. On paper, that sounds nice, and I know for the World Eaters Codex, it's actually really good. Death Guard, it's kind of Emperor's Children's kind of This one is a little bit more of a letdown, in my opinion. I like its direction, but I do think that, like, demons in a whole, you should just be able to ally them in. Like, maybe not like 1,000 points like this one, like half your army, and allowing Lords of Change and characters to be in. But like this one, you like, yeah, Lords of Change characters go at it, which Lords of Change are the only characters you can ally in anyways.
Right.
Also going into it, there's not a lot of demons data sheets.
Yeah, because you're not using
using demons, you're using
the demons codex.
Yeah.
I don't know if it counts as a codex if it's just a PDF, but you're using specific ones that are in this book.
Yeah.
Which is what we see with the other ones as well.
Which there are, I believe, only 5. 5 data sheets that you can use. Kairos, Lord of Change, Pink Horrors, well, 6, Blue Horrors, Screamers, and Flamers. That's it.
Kairos, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What'd you say?
6.
Okay, he didn't lie, everybody.
So, I originally said 5, but Blue Horrors.
He originally lied. He corrected himself.
Yeah, just change host of Deceit, bro. I like the direction. Don't get me wrong. I like having, and this is also what Thousand Sons are probably the most known for, is summoning demons. Like even other traitor legions and warbands ally in Thousand Sons purely just to summon in demons for combat. Like this is what they're known for.
So it seems a little weird lore-wise for it to be relegated to just this single detachment.
Yeah, so it's like a Thousand Sons, and this kind of goes into World Leaders, Death Guard, and Emperor's Children too. I think you should just be able to ally 500 points of demons. I don't think you should have Lords of Change and Great Unclean Ones in that 500 points, but like, you know, Nurglings, Blue Horrors, Pink Horrors, Flamers, like that's fine in my opinion. And this one should specifically call out Lords of Change and stuff, because unless you're playing Chaos Demons, I don't blame you if you don't want to buy a $120 model for one detachment.
Yeah.
like it's just it's not worth it.
And this seems to be a direction that we're going in general, right? So all of the Chaos Marines have experienced the same treatment. They all have the single detachment that's bring the demons. But actually, the first people to experience this was the Gene Stealer cults. Because forever, they're a newer faction, but they could bring Brood Brothers, which is a bunch of guard stuff, because their model line is very small and thematically makes sense. But now with the latest Gene Stealer cults, you can only bring the Brood Brothers in a single detachment.
Yeah, so I
guess that was kind of like the writing on the wall for the rest of these too.
Topped with also Tyranids.
That's the
final day one.
That's the final day one. So different detachment. You weren't.
But it's very similar. You couldn't do it before. You could ally in Tyranids before, but now it's relegated to a detachment.
Yeah.
I know why they did this. Because some of y'all abused the hell out of the fact that you could ally demons in, and I saw Nurglings everywhere I went tournament playing.
Our fans would never do such things. Our fans are good people. We're always playing out of kindness, and we never, ever bully people. Ever. Especially not on a live stream.
I'm just saying, y'all blessed me.
All right, but yes, so
but
okay.
There is a reason why the writing was on the wall for that, because of when you had allies, you could abuse them and actually ally them in, and it helped your army out significantly. This is the cutback for you to play. I'm playing this specific Traitor Legion. You are playing this Traitor Legion, kind of. With this detachment.
So it's not. So the thing with this detachment is it doesn't just let you bring the demons. It also has a buff associated with bringing the demons.
Correct. Right? So this, it's still fluffy. Demons within 6 inches of Thousand Sons, or backwards. Thousand Sons within 6 inches of demons get a 4-up invul.
Oh, that's really neat.
It's actually pretty handy. So if you have a screen line of pink horrors running around, that's what you use them for. Someone's getting upset behind the camera. So if you have a screen line of pink horrors behind, in front of like rubrics or terminators, like it gives the plus or the invul to a weaker squad, and basically just kind of creates a tar pit screen line. It's handy. Now the other way, Thousand Sons, a demon near 1,000 Sons. If they're sorcerers, they can cast the spells that the Thousand Sons can. There's only 2 models that can. It's Kairos and a Lord of Change.
Okay.
So they're not, like, their points value is not necessarily bad. It's like what I said before. Are you going to spend a $120 model for one detachment?
Right.
But you can't bring in anything else. Other than if you were to play Chaos Demons. Or Sigmar. Like,
or if you just want a pretty model.
Or if you just want pretty models, which is completely valid. But if you were to justify to me that you're buying a $120 model for one detachment, that kind of isn't really that great. I don't blame you if you didn't buy the model. And I don't blame you if you don't have demons to begin with, because if on my little collection table, I have Lords of Change. Are they painted? No. But I do have a bunch of demons because you could ally normal demons in before. So it's kind of just up in the air.
Yeah. Okay, but moving on from the actual detachment rules, let's get into the meat potatoes of this, right?
Yep.
So, as is tradition, we have 4 enhancements. First of which is the Nethershriek Mind Eater. As you would know, as our boy knows, as he read through all this, definitely we didn't pressure him to do this morning. Thousand Sons or Lord of Change models. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 12 invisible to the bearer. That unit must take a battle shock test. If it fails, it takes 3 mortals.
In my opinion, you're always going to throw this on a Lord of Change, because what are you doing with Lords of Change? You're throwing them at the enemy as fast as you can.
Yeah, but like anything that triggers off of Battle Shock is like, do you have any way to manipulate Battle Shock? Like, do any of you guys do reduction? Yeah, it's
still kind of a 50-50. Space Marine's a little bit harder to do, but like, here's how I see it. You're going to throw a Lord of Change for it anyways. He's going to probably be near 1,000 Sons to cast spells. that combination with Doombolt, if you just spike it, you could absolutely ruin a unit's day.
Yeah, but the fact that it triggers off Battle Shock makes it difficult, especially like, you know, if somebody in our group played Black Templar, some crazy guy, they have a way to just give the entire army a 5-up leadership. And then, okay, good luck. You're never going to get those 3 models. Your points have been nullified.
It's a what if.
Yeah, I think those points are probably, unless it's cheap, I don't know how many points it is, but unless it's cheap, I wouldn't worry about it. The points change all the time, right? Yeah. But unless it's cheap,
I remember that one's not terribly expensive. I think it's 15 points or 20. It's not terrible. I see it as a way to stack Doombolt to get really stupid.
Yeah, it's just the trigger condition makes it kind of doo-doo, right?
Because you have Grand Coven that can let you double Doombolt. This is kind of your way to double Doombolt with demons.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
That's not accurate.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't even know why they print the points at the back of these things anymore, because they're like nullified day 2. Yeah. Whatever. But next, possibly more better, proper English, Diabolic Savant.
So,
which, as you would know,
I did read these. Okay, there's a lot of enhancements.
I'm just busting as well. You're fine. So, do you want me to keep being sassy?
Yeah, keep reading it.
Okay. Diabolic Savant. T-Sons Infantry, while the bear is within 6 inches of a scintillating Legion unit. Each time the bearer channels warp, so it does the rituals, add 1 to the saving test. So just +1 to your checks.
So basically, you're standing near the warp, manifestations of the warp. You get empowered because of it, +1 to cast. It's decent. It's not the one I put on anybody.
Yeah. It helps make it more reliable. Right?
Yeah, it's not bad. Yes. The next one, though,
the Duplicitous Malediction.
Which here I can read that one for you.
Oh, okay.
Me too.
Okay.
So you're not reading.
I can read too. I went to school.
So the Thousand Sons are Lord of Change model only. Both players have deployed their army set up to 3,000 Sons unit from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set those units up in strategic reserves if you wish, regardless of how many of those are already in strategic reserves. This is good. However, this kind of makes Armin null and void. Or you can make this really stupid with Armin, because Armin has the same rule.
So you can just like, all right,
I pick up 6 units.
Yeah. So this is the thinking man.
This is you being stupid with demons, because like, demons are already deep strike.
Yeah, because it used to be for things like this that you had to wait until after you rolled for who went first. Now it's yet to before the roll off, right?
Correct.
But still, like, you can use your drops in your deployment to like outsmart your opponent, especially if you have infiltrators. You can play the infiltration game, deploy things super risky way up front, and then be like, deuces. Like, I know whether or not I get first turn, these things are going to die. Whoop.
Now keep that in mind that Armin also has that rule. So this one kind of is null and void. So you could put this on a sorcerer, and I believe it's the same cost as Armin. So it's kind of a weird, like...
So you have double Armin.
You have a double
Armin. If you want a different data sheet.
Yeah.
Like, you want Armin's ability, but you don't want the rest of the Armin package. It gives you that second option.
For this...
Or if you just want to be a pain in the butt and go full Alpha Legion and be like, all right, here's my army, and it's gone.
And it's gone. It was never there.
It's not a good plan. Don't put everything you have in strategic reserves, because then you have no assets on the board, and that's how you get your butt kicked.
You don't have...
But it's funny.
Correct.
And that's what matters.
You don't have to put it in strategic reserve, though. You don't. You can, if you want to.
Yeah.
You can go...
Oh, redeploy them. Yep.
Yeah, to redeploy. So you go... And then put them somewhere else, because their left flank has, oh my god, amounts of dreadnoughts or Hellbrutes or a Primarch, and you just go... Nah.
Nerd.
Which is funny when you do it with Lords of Change.
Yeah.
So,
situational, thinking man's enhancement.
This last one is more useful.
The Tome of True Names.
Yep. So it's if you want to read it real quick, just so.
It's a once per battle. Okay, Thousand Sons Infantry. Once per battle, the start of any phase, bearer can use its enhancements. If it does, it has a 2-up invuln until the end of the phase. Which,
this is you being a pain in the ass in the backfield with a sorcerer.
Yeah, because Trajan has a similar ability. Actually, no, they got rid of the 2-up invuln, I think. Did they? I'll check. Doesn't matter. This isn't Custodes.
This is very specific once per phase. So if they don't shoot at you, or if they charge at you, or whatever, and you want that sorcerer to be alive to sit in the backfield and kind of just say deuces, or just hold an objective, it's handy. I like it. It's very powerful. I believe it's only 20 points.
Yeah,
15.
Points change all the time.
Yeah,
but
at the time of recording, I think it's 15. But
the only thing is you'll just have to think it through because you have to pick at the start of the phase. You have to know, like, okay, this phase he's going to try to turn my insides into my outsides.
Correct. So there's Angron. I know what he's doing. Pop at start of fight phase. Then he charges. Like, it's handy. It's very useful, but you got to know when to trigger it. Those enhancements kind of bleed into why the attachment's kind of is because one of the enhancements is like the very first one is meh.
Very solidly meh.
When you could have another enhancement where you could just doom build twice. The next one is
This one is like, that's not bad.
It's not bad, but you have a character that already does that anyways. The next one, you have a character that already does that anyways. And the last one is probably the most handy just because you can kind of just be a pain.
Face tank.
Yeah, you can face tank something.
This is the detachment for trolling people.
Yeah, this one's just to annoy the hell out of people, and it's
Which
fun.
Honestly, that's legitimate strategy.
Yeah,
and nothing but mind games.
And you know what? If you want to play with your demons, go for it. Like, this is your demon detachment. Like, have fun.
It seems fun. I wouldn't say it's top tier, but we're not top tier players, so we don't care. Okay, but then, the other things you're getting for these attachments, the stratagems.
Yep.
So we have a Sulphurous Veil. That's 1 CP.
Yeah.
Let's see. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets that you have -1 to hit for the shooting fight phase.
It's just, again, if you're kind of getting a theme for this, you're being annoying. This is the detachment. You are being annoying with demons as your allies. Which, if the one demons that are the most annoying is there's the Zechian demons. So -1 to hit is actually pretty good.
-1 hit's always good, especially you said your scarabs have that innate toughness buff if they're protecting somebody.
Yeah, they're -1 to wound if there's a psyker in the squad.
Is it -1 to wound always, or -1 to wound if the strength's higher than the toughness?
They changed it. It's just -1 to wound now. Yeah.
I hate you. All right.
But we'll get there.
Okay, Deceptive Glamour. Another one. This one. Oh, this is a 2 CP strat.
This one's probably the most useful and it's the most expensive.
Yeah, okay. Trade. Yeah, makes sense. Start of the fight phase, and at the end of the phase, each time an enemy model with an engagement range selects targets for his attack, it can only target your unit if there are no eligible Scintillating Legion targets for those attacks.
Basically, you make the Damians face tank it instead of your rubrics.
Which have a 4-up invuln for those who are tracking at home.
Guess who also has a 4-up invul anyways, because guess who's within 6 inches? Probably that unit that's also engagement.
Yeah.
You just rather get your demons to explode, which that one's very handy, especially if you're running pink horrors, because they split anyways. On a 4-up.
They still split? Okay.
They still split on a 4-up. Yeah. So that one's more useful if you're using it on pink horrors, because you're using them to screen.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of but this is probably one of the more useful ones.
Okay. And then we have Ethereal Phantasm. This is 1 CP. Gives you you can make a move after you shoot. Well, let's see. Sorry. Opponent's movement phase just after they... Okay. It is a reactive move.
It's a reactive move.
Words are hard. Reactive move. Somebody gets within 9. You'd be like, okay.
You go wee and run away backwards.
So it's it can only target your demons, the Scintillating Legions. So your screen of pink horrors.
Your pink horror pulled a prank and they went surprise and they ran backwards.
And it's D6 normally, or 6 inches if they're within 6 inches of 1,000 Suns.
Yeah, because they're being directed by the sorcerers. So it's okay. It's reactive. It's a tool. It's a tool stratagem.
Reactive moves are always very strong.
So
then we have the Fractal Disjunction. Another 1 CP. Upon shooting phase, just have to pick a target. It's the new like 18-inch.
Yeah, you have to shoot within 18 inches.
Yeah.
So, and it's so long as the demon's near him, right?
No, just as one scintillating Legion's unit from your army, excluding monsters, that was selected as the target of one or more attacking units' attacks.
So you put Kairos front line, or you put a Lord of Change front line.
Excluding monsters.
Oh, yep. See, that's you never spend it, unless you have pink horrors hanging out in the backfield, which you kind of want them to get shot to split, anyways.
Yeah. So if you have somebody that, yeah. These ones I'm not very good at using. I will fully admit. As a Kroot player, we have a Strela Kroot one. I'm not very good at this.
There's some good ones for it. It's just,
it's hard to use.
It's hard to use.
Then we have the Chrono Sorceress Bleed. Another one CP.
I love the Thousand Sons and Deceit
with your
names.
Fake ass words. Until the end of the phase, subtract 2 charge rolls, so it's -2 to charge for a Thousand Sons Saker or Scintillating Legion.
Yeah, you're making your horrors and stuff harder to charge.
Yeah. So after the reactive move, we move further away and be like,
yeah, it's. I'm not going to say there's no potential in this, because there is potential in this, but as you can kind of see, I'm being annoying. These are my demons and I'm being annoying. Have fun. Like I'm trying to actually paint up my Lords of Change so that on the channel I can actually play this and just, am I going to win? No. Am I going to have fun? Yeah. So that's kind of what this vibe is going for. And the very last one, I believe,
that is the Glimmershift Portal, which is uppy downies. End of opponent's fight phase, you can either pick 2 demons or 1 monstrous demon. And then you can put them in reserves.
Yeah.
Which, that ability is always strong. Not as strong as the one where you can pick in your command phase from the Grand Coven, but that's still very strong. It gives you a lot of flexibility.
It's fun.
And the fact you can pick 2 units, that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice.
And it does say you can pick a monstrous unit, so you can pick up your Lord of Change and throw them to the other side of the board, because all demons are deep strike still. Again, it's like this is fun. I love the fact that this is kind of like what they're going for. I love the fact that demons are allied into legions that, have demons as allies. I do wish it was a little different, because, like, again, $120 model. Are you going to buy it for 1 detachment? Probably not. Their core rule, the detachment rule is decent. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's decent. Their enhancements are kind of meh, because either somebody can already run them, or it's kind of hard to use them to begin with. And then everything else is like trickery and scheming, which is why I said this is one of the more fluffy out of the detachments. So if you want to play demons and get buffs with your Thousand Sons, this is the way to do it. Kind of end off with this, I do think that your demons should be just able to ally in for 500 points, excluding characters, of course.
But these are the rules we have, so we're working with what we got, right? Can't change the past.
Exactly, and that's why it's like my opinions on it is I don't have an issue with it. It's just not as appealing as some of these other ones, like the next one we'll talk about, which is probably your more friendly. You're playing Sigmar, Disciples of Zeech, and now you want to play Thousand Sons. Anyways,
as well, Warpmeld Pact. What do we got going on here?
So, like, demons is probably your friendly if you're playing Age of Sigmar, kind of coming in as well. This was probably your other one, because this one wants you to play a lot of Zangors and Chaos Spawn. So this detachment, everybody has one in their even every Chaos book. Everybody has it in their own Chaos book. They all have a Cultists detachment. Thousand Sons have lost their Cultists, so now the only thing that they really have is Zangors.
Wait, do you really not have Cultists in this?
No, they're gone.
Huh.
Yeah, those Cultists I painted up for Thousand Sons, gone.
Nerd.
So I guess they're sacrificial for Chaos Knights now.
Oh, yeah. For my favorite detachment.
Yeah.
Though also at the same time, there's still Legends, I'm assuming. Did they make a Legends for just cultists?
No.
What?
No.
There's no Legends?
No, because
cultists?
No, because now your cultists are for only Chaos Space Marines.
But yeah, but they were in this book before.
They were in it, but
usually, okay,
they should.
Whatever. Potato, tomato. All right.
For Necromunda now.
Warpmeld Pact, yes.
So, this is your Zangor detachment. And not specifically, it benefits mutants, which are your Chaos Spawn, and also your Mutalithic Vortex Beasts. So there's two sides of this, your detachment. You can take D3 mortal wounds on your unit, and they become -1 to wound in the opponent's shooting or fighting phase. And you can also take D3 mortal wounds in your shooting phase or fighting phase, and you are +1 to wound. So it kind of represents the violent mutating of mutants that Tzeentch have, where just violently mutating to be stronger for the moment. But you take punishment in doing so. So you can have a bunch of Zangors sacrifice themselves in the name of the Lord of Change to become stronger.
Or to become also count as mutant, right?
They're mutants, yes.
Okay.
And this also applies to your, because this benefits only, let me see how many data sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data sheets. So, you can, oh yeah, he's counting them real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, 6 data sheets.
Once more, we're giving you nothing but the truth here.
So, there's still ways to add a normal sorcerer into the attachment without feeling hanging out in the wind. But this is benefiting your Zangors and your Zangor Shamans and whatnot. So the way to go with this is running 120 Zangors and then filling out whatever however you want the rest of the attachment to be. But their first enhancement, I think is...
Well, it does also give Zangor battle line.
Oh yeah, and Zangors are now battle line because they're not normally.
And adds 1 to their OC.
Correct.
So that's kind of nice.
So if you have a lot of Zangors, here you go. Have fun. So their first enhancement.
Oh yes, now the enhancements. The Warpmeld Dagger. Dagger.
So this one's fun. This is the sacrificial dagger that the Zangor Shaman has. And he can give himself, correct me if I'm wrong, D3 mortal wounds for +1 to casting.
Yeah, it's over D3 for +1 to cast.
So it's because this detachment doesn't rely on any Thousand Sons sorcerers to be in it. This is a good way to have him be able to +1 to his casts, because it's really the only way you're going to have Psykers in the list. The next one,
the Diamond of Distortion, another Zangor Shaman original.
Yep. This one's pretty easy. It's -1 to hit for the squad.
Yeah.
I think it's just -1 to hit. It's not stealth.
Correct. So -1 to hit.
Yep.
But only if it's leading a unit. So somehow, the Zangor Shaman ends up alone without leading a unit, which somehow forgets to be sneaky.
Yeah. Which, if you're getting the theme of D3 mortal wounds per +1 to wound or -1 to wound, it can easily happen. Even with 20 Zangors, because they're all 1 wound to pop.
Yeah.
Next one, I think, is the one that you can bring a sorcerer along with you.
The Bray Lord. Sorcerer or Infernal Master only. Gives the bearer 6-inch scout.
Yep, because Zangors are naturally scouts.
Yeah, so that can make them able to attach to Zangor units.
Yep, so this is sorcerers and Infernal Masters specifically. Meaning that you could have one of those two characters hop in and they give the squad lethal hits or sustain hits. Now, when we get to him, the sorcerer, he is really, really dumb to begin with. And there's a way to make him, and this lets you be able to put a little bit more psychic firepower in your already kind of cultist-based list. So, it's a good one to add that kind of sorcerer. The next one
is Flowing Flesh, which is horrifying.
This one's cool.
Also for Zangor Shaman.
Yep, also Zangor Shaman. He gets 1 additional wound, and he gets a 5-up feel no pain?
4-up feel no pain.
4-up feel no pain. So he's 5 wounds and 4-up feel no pain. So, a shame the dagger is a different enhancement, because that would be a great combination. But, you know, if you start having him, because he's a mutant, having him -1 to wound when he's by himself and he has a 4-up feel of pain, he starts getting pretty spacey.
Yeah, though he also, I will stipulate, they only have a T4 and a 5-up invuln, so like,
yeah.
If you get to the point where Flowing Flesh is applicable, you're probably...
It's going to be pretty applicable pretty close, because Zangors are just a 6-up armor save, 6-up invul.
But I think what I mean is, like, how useful is it, those, like, to keep a single shaman alive?
He's annoying.
Okay.
He's annoying, honestly. Enhancements, they're fun.
Yeah.
If you're kind of getting the theme for this is the Cult of Mutation. Because Thousand Sons, quick lore, Cult of Mutation, they love their mutating flesh, they love changing things to never be the same. So this is your fun, fluffy Cult of Mutation.
Yeah.
All right. Stratagems.
And then we get to our stratagem, the first being the Gift of Change, a 1 CP stratagem. Looks like you pick 1,000 Sons character model from your army, excluding monsters that was just destroyed. It turns it into a chaos spawn.
Yes, this one's fun.
Okay.
You lose your character, you turn him into a chaos spawn.
Okay, that's kind of okay. Also, it's only for 1,000 Sons characters too, so it does not need to be specifically a Tzeentch mutant.
No. So your sorcerer that is leading the Zangor squad can explode into a chaos spawn. Okay. Why? Because it's fun.
Because it's fun.
So that one's fun and fluffy.
Also, like, aren't your chaos spawn a little yoked?
They're very similar to everybody else's, if I remember.
And chaos spawns are kind of yoked, but all right. Next we have also you can only use it once per battle. You can't every turn make a new chaos spawn.
It's not once per battle, it's once per battle round.
Reading's hard. He's right, it's only once per battle.
So yeah, you can have all your characters start dying once per battle round and just turn them into a chaos spawn. Why? Because it's funny.
And it's only 1 CP, so
and chaos spawn are still tough models to deal with. So
then next we have Warped Vicissitude.
Do you need help?
Vicissitude. No, I got it. Vicissitude. Warped Vicissitude. Another 1 CP. 1 Zangor unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more attacks gets a 4-up invuln.
Yeah. And if you didn't catch Zangors or a 6-up, this is the way to protect them.
And you have a 20-man block with a 4-up, because you can take them in 20-mans, can't you?
Yeah, you can make them a 10-man to a 20-man.
It's 20-man block with a 4-up invuln. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice.
It's handy.
All right. Next we have Deranged Ferocity, another 1 CP strat. Fight phase just after a Tzeentch mutant unit from your army is selected to fight. Gives them 6-inch pile in or consolidate. And then it gives you 3-inch eligibility to fight. So instead of 2 rows, it gives you 3 rows that you can fight with.
Yeah, this is basically because if you're going to run a 20-man block, to getting everything to fight, it's going to be difficult. This is your stratagem to let you be able to pile in more and to consolidate more, plus 3-inch fight range. Now you're using Age of Sigmar rules of fighting.
Yeah,
basically.
Now you have you can have all 20 people in the fight, because as I know from Kroots, as you know from the Khorne Berserkers, getting 20 people into a fight, that's pretty dang hard.
Yeah, so it's a good way to do it. Zangor fighting is not necessarily that great anyway, so the more that you can get into it is for the better.
Yeah.
The next one
is Blessed Transmutations, another 1 CP. They're all 1 CP, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Thousand Sons Psycho model from your army and 1 friendly Zangor unit below starting strength within 12. You return D3 plus 1 destroyed models.
Yep. So you're bringing models back that you're sacrificing to give +1 to wound and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it helps keep that 20-man just like keep going.
You keep them. You're trying to keep them alive. Yep.
Yeah. Touched by Tzeentch, another 1 CP, 1 Tzeentch mutant unit from your army can shoot and charge.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me a day that's not good.
Yeah. So it's like if it's encouraging. Does it just say infantry?
Nope, just Tzeentch mutant.
So guess who I'm gonna do that with? Feudalistic Vortex Beast.
Because he too is a Tzeentch mutant.
Correct. So he's gonna shoot and charge after he runs. Then
finally we have Twisted Mirage, 1 CP, reinforcement step of your movement phase, 1 Zinch unit from your army that is arriving from strategic reserves. It gives you a 3-inch deep strike.
Yep. So we'll get to Zangors. Zangors at the end of the opponent's turn can pick themselves up if they're not within 6 inches of an enemy unit. So this is kind of working in tandem with that you can drop them in somewhere instead of coming in strategic reserves for them every single time you pick them up, if you want to. So.
Oh, yo, it works on monsters too. 3-inch deep strike, Megalith Vortex Beast, let's go!
I mean, I would, if it wasn't for the fact that his thing kicks off at the end. Wait, no. It might be the end of movement phase. His aura. So, actually, that might not be that bad.
Zinch wills you to do stupid things and be bullies to your friend. Don't be a bully to your friend.
So you're kind of getting the grasp for this. This is a funny mutant one. Does he really? Because I thought it was at the end of movement, not the reinforcement. Oh, so you just drop it with.
It says end of movement.
Yeah, well, reinforcement step is the end of movement. So you just and then go mortal wound bomb. Okay, I can see a use for it. It's 1 CP too, isn't it?
Yep, sure.
That's hilarious.
It sure is.
So you put him in strategic reserve to do that, and then you have the other one run.
Yeah. Well, this seems like a fun one. This is just doing tomfoolery, and I'm here for it.
This one's fun, and I was watching some other people like on reviews and whatnot talk about it. It might be one of the not underdog, but like unsuspecting like meta ones. 120 Zangors to chew through is one nightmare. I built the list 120 Zangors. It's doing the points wise, it's still under 1,000 points.
Yeah, and that's a lot. That's a bit stockier than 120 Crute.
Yeah,
you have that built-in invul, and then you have these ways to make them stockier.
So you have those ways. So you put 120 Zangors that can go uppy downies if they want to. On top of like Neuro-Heretical Vortex beasts are 160. You have to throw 3 of those, and then you have some room to throw in some guys in discs each, which I think was only 1 squad by the end of it because I added in 3. I added in 3 shamans and then the 1 sorcerer to throw in there, and that was kind of it. But it was like it's unsuspectingly like powerful.
Yeah,
if done right.
And also, like, there's nothing in this that says you have to only run Zangor.
No.
You can still have all the other accoutrements. This just buffs up your Zangors, which, you know, you see sometimes in the competitive scene, people running the Crute detachment, but only running not even like half their army is the Crute. Yeah. Because it buffs the Crute a lot, and then just you use all the good data sheets from the rest of your army. Correct.
So this one is like an unsuspecting strong. Purely just go, I take D3 mortal wounds. I'm -1 to wound. Beetolithics already have a 5-up in Feel No Pain. Chaos Spawn already have a 5-up Feel No Pain. Zangors don't, but who cares about 1 wound models? Yeah. So, like, this is also one that I'm gonna try to get done for the channel at some point. To just try instead of
a Crute versus Zangor off.
I think that would be fun.
Crute would have a 5-up invul. That's the detachment.
So you'd have a better invul than me.
But I would have a -1. Because yours isn't, this is just -1 to wound. This is straight -1 to wound. Yeah. So even for things lower than you, last guns will wound you on a 6.
It'd be great. So, oh yeah, because they are T4.
Yeah. How funny means.
So, fun list. Overall thoughts. I like it. It's fun. I don't play with Zangors. I just always kind of like never really liked them up until like recently, honestly. And it was more so not because I didn't like them. It was just because, you're playing Thousand Sons? Okay, every single kit you have 20 of them. I really didn't need 20 more, so that's why I own like 60 to 80 of them.
Oh, you're most of the way there then. Okay.
So like, and I don't like painting them because like, it's not armor. It's
blue,
weird blue flesh, which was already difficult to start painting. And then if you do the ones that discus each, it's a nightmare of color painting. So, eventually I'll start getting them painted, but they're fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the next one.
Yep.
Unless you have anything else to say.
Nah, that should be it.
All right. I think next on our list we have the Rubricae Phalanx.
My favorite.
Yeah. The what?
So this is kind of playing into the other side of what Thousand Sons are. So like the first two that we talked about, psychic powers and summoning demons. That's kind of what everybody really knows them for.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other side of it, of Thousand Sons, where rubrics are known to be very tough, that they can just take a hit to begin with.
As we all know now from Space Marine 2.
Yeah, so this
Why won't you die? Die.
Pretty much.
Die.
And there's a reason for that, is because they're dust and armor. Like they can take a blow to the face and just not care.
Like when they take a suck to the face.
I don't know about
Because
that.
that's when the dust fly. That's why Hoovers are not sponsored. Why Hoovers are the preferred weapon against Thousand Sons.
So with this is a callback to 9th edition, their old rule, which is all is dust. Rubricae units hit by a damage 1 weapon get a +1 to their save. Pretty simple, kind of niche, but in the right circumstances, extremely powerful. If you're running against custodians and like Grey Knights and other, at the time, other Space Marines, kind of good luck, because it doesn't come up very often. But if you're running against Horde armies that are usually going to have damage 1 weapons, you're just going to sit there and take it and just not care, because this is not a reduce the AP by 1 like the like taking cover and stuff is. It's just a +1 to armor save. So you can go to rubrics at 2 up armor save.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like how old rubrics and stuff were.
Yeah, and probably just as annoying too.
It can be. It didn't. The only time I got to play them, it didn't really come up very often. But when it does, it's pretty good. But going into their enhancements.
Looks like first we have the Risen Rubricae.
So this one's gross. This one's 30 points. I know this one off the top of my head. You can pick 2 Rubricae battle line units to give them infiltrate. Or you could pick 1 Rubricae unit, non-battle line, to give infiltrate. This does say it at the start of your pre-deployment step. Correct?
Yes, at the start of the declare battle formation
There it is.
step.
So meaning you
Start.
Yeah.
Start's the key word. We'll get back to that.
Well, I'm getting that right now.
We're getting back to it now.
Your characters don't naturally have infiltrate. So you can't attach a character and then do this. This is first, and if you attach a character, you lose infiltrate. There's a very big thing that kind of is a little overlooked. Not a lot of people caught that. But reading into it a little bit more, you can't attach a character and do this.
Yeah, because that happens later on in the declare battle
It's like the
formations.
very next step.
It's the next step.
It's the next step.
Because it's the start, you can't magically infiltrate a unit with a character.
So
Don't do it.
There was a point when I was waiting for when they were going to talk about that to see when that timing off, because if it was the exact same time, then it would be fair. But it's not. So it's you infiltrate them first, you attach a character, you lose it. But it doesn't say how big or small the squads can be. So you can have 2 10-man squads of rubrics infiltrate, or 1 10-man squad of terminators infiltrate. Yeah. No, infiltrate is one of those things where, like, you're putting something out there that your opponent knows about already. It's not like Deep Strike where you can kind of hide or like kind of prepare for a inevitable reinforcement. They're already going to be far forward, and if you're going to go against war leaders, it might not be the greatest, even with a -1 to wound terminators.
Yeah, but you can still, because with Armin, you said you still have the redeploy.
Yep.
So you can play the infiltrate minigame. Do you have any other infiltrators, or is it just them?
We'll talk about those because those are the brand new units that we'll be talking about later.
So it gives you another thing to play the infiltrate game with.
Correct.
Because you can use that stuff to screen out your opponent. Because if they have infiltrators and you don't, that sucks. You have nothing you can really do. There's no counterplay to that. If you have an infiltrator, oh god, rogue cat. You have infiltrators and they have infiltrators, then you have a little back and forth. You can help keep them back a bit.
Yeah, so it's honestly putting terminators out in front, turn 1, before even turn 1 is gross. It's like how the Umbrella Crystal and Grand Coven is. It's throwing Terminators or just rubrics anywhere where your opponent's not suspecting them is just, it's gonna be a pain. So yeah, it's great. It's 30 points. It's expensive, but it's really good.
Yeah, that's probably worth it, right? And that's like a thing that you build your army around. That is an army build around ability.
Yep, and I have 100% built one with and without it, and I just can't bring myself to not take it. It's just that good.
It's good. I think 30 points is probably the right call for it.
Oh, 100%. It's
like I don't know if there should be any more points. It definitely should not be less.
No
damn way. But
30 points is 100% fair because you are drastically changing your army's algorithm, period, by doing that.
Yeah.
Like, you are playing a different type of kind of list building at that rate. Yeah. So the next one.
These are when they get less exciting, because what's more exciting than infiltrating Terminators? Arcane Thralls.
So this one, I'm trying to remember how this one is, because I think this is the one I don't use.
Yeah, it's Thousand Sons model only, friendly Rubricae unit within 9 inches of the barrel. They can reroll battle shocks.
Okay, the reason why this one's decent, it's only 5 points.
Yeah.
It is only 5 points, and if you have Rubricae are battle line to begin with, so they're going to be 2 OC, and they're their only battle line. Just being able to be like, nah, reroll that, 100% fair for 5 points.
Yeah.
And most of the time, one of the most annoying things about 10th edition is usually you get to a certain point where you just can't add any more points because everything's such a fixed limit. The only thing to affect those points is your enhancements.
Yeah.
So having this 5 points, great. Love it.
Yeah, and like, sure, it's very difficult to make good rules that trigger off people failing battle shocks, but it sure as hell sucks when you fail a battle shock. So having a way, especially like a cheap way, like 5 points, like
5 points to just be like, nah.
I'm not gonna be upset if it doesn't come up. Gives you, it's nice.
Yep.
The last thing you want is to lose control of an objective just because, oh hey, I failed to roll that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. So
and it saves OC. You don't have to use Insane Bravery.
Yep. It can come into play more than you think.
Yeah. Let's see. Next we have Lord of the Rubricae.
This one's great. It's purely just +1 to hit for Rubricae units that are being led.
Honestly, and that's all it needs to do. Like that's
so
kiss.
So like, because if you're already going to infiltrate your 10-man block of Terminators, if you have another 10-man block of Terminators with your Terminator Sorcerer Lord, like even just in melee in general, because everything in that squad, even the Sorcerer Lord's hitting on 3s. So just having the entire squad just now hit on 2s. Yeah, it's gross.
It's pretty bad.
Even in melee with the Kabeshes, which has basically the Mastercrafted Power Sword stat line. Yeah, it gets dumb real quick. But it's one of those ones you gotta kind of build it around, because even if you build it into rubrics, normal rubric marines, it's still really good. Though I feel like you're missing out if you don't put it on Terminators. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Now the last one is actually the one that it doesn't sound as great, but it's actually pretty decent when you actually. We'll go into it a little bit.
Yeah, the Stave Abominus.
Yes.
Another fun made-up word.
So this one gives it's sustain hits 1.
D3.
It's sustain hits D3,
which is always the funny one.
And devastating.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, and devastating wounds to a melee weapon.
Yeah, only the bear's melee weapon, so it doesn't go for the squad.
Yep. So here's the fun thing: does it say a psychic melee weapon?
Nope.
No.
Just
so
melee.
guess where you can put this on?
Kopesh.
So yeah, Kopesh, which you would actually put this on a not your Terminator Sorcerer, because you can't actually bring that, unfortunately. But you can bring this on a normal.
The Terminator Sorcerer bring it.
He just normally can't. He brings a staff, and then you give him 2 different types of combi bolters. Either the combi bolter or the combi weapon.
Okay, I'm tracking what you're saying now.
Yeah, but the ones that can bring Kabeshes is your Exalted Sorcerer and your normal Sorcerer. Which you're not really going to charge them into combat, but if something does, they have a way to retaliate. So this one's kind of niche. I like it purely because it doesn't specify what weapon it can be, so you can have your Kabesh sustain hits D3 and devastating wounds. Which arguably a lot of people say the Kabeshes are a better melee weapon than the staffs anyways. And now you're fixing the problem with the Kabeshes.
Yeah, more AP is always better.
Yeah, so
more AP is always better. Like, there's a reason why Custodes only ever bring spears over the axes.
yeah, so it's good. If you're trying to squeeze in 20 points somewhere, don't take it. But if you have free 20 points that you can put on a sorcerer, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
But that one and the Battle Shock one always can go back and forth from me. But also you can leave them at home if need be.
Yeah.
They're just extra tools.
Yeah, they're just extra tools. That's definitely something like, oh, I got extra points. I'm going to go burn those on this.
So the next one, going into stratagems.
Yeah, the next one would be stratagems because we only have 4 enhancements. Because unless you're Chaos Knights, apparently, you only get 4.
More?
One of the Chaos Knights has 6.
Really?
Yeah. But that sounds like a 2 weeks from now problem because we're not special enough to get preview copies. Yet.
All we have to do is make sure that we yell at people to take pictures correctly online. We don't condone pirating.
Legal reasons, this is a joke. However, okay, let's go into the stratagems, right? All right, the first one is Ardent Automata for 1 command point.
So, actually, I forgot what this one is.
Looks like during your movement phase, just after a Rubricae unit from your army falls back, shoot and declare charge.
This
Fall
one,
back, shoot and charge.
Yeah, this one's actually really good. I can't believe I forgot about this one. Having your infiltrating terminators, your deep striking terminators, being able to fall back, shoot and charge, it's a no-brainer. You're gonna spend it.
Yeah.
Have fun. Like,
especially when you have something as stocky as your Scarab occult terminators.
Yep.
Infiltrating. They're gonna get charged by something probably, unless you're fighting Tau.
And
something's gonna charge them, but you're gonna be like, oh, I lived. Okay, bye. Blam.
Even if it's not Terminators and you have rubrics locked in the combat, their shooting's just that good enough that you want them to back out and be able to shoot. And hell, if it's the unit's weak enough after you shoot it, you're gonna charge back in.
Oh yeah.
Cycle charging is very powerful.
Yeah. Just being that charging so you can get that fights versus.
So the next stratagem.
We have Inexorable Advance, another 1 CP.
This one, there's a dumb combination with it. Now keep in mind Temporal Surge. Temporal Surge is basically a double move in the shooting phase. Either it's D6 or 6 if you cast high enough. This gets your Rubric Marines Assault. And if I'm correct, I think you can actually just move 6 inches for this stratagem.
Until the end of your turn, you can ignore any roll modifiers to its move characteristics and to advance rolls made for it. So no, it doesn't.
No, you're ignoring movement, which seems to be very common for armies to be like -2 to your move and advance and blah blah blah. This one just is like, nah, you just move. And then it gives all your guns assault. So
you can just.
Which rubrics already move 6. They now move 1 inch faster than they did before, so they move 6. Let's say you roll a 3, that's 9, and then you double move for another 6 or D6. Yeah, you can get flamers in someone's face pretty quick.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
That is a very 9th edition strategy I used back in the day. Now that it's available again, I might or may not use it. The reason why I may not use it is because rhinos are now a thing.
All right, well, we'll get to that. Until then, we have an Infernal Fusillade, which is...
Yes! We love this one. So this was originally in the Cult of Magic. This is the Alpha Strike nightmare that a lot of people had back in the day. Or back before this codex. Basically, it turns all of your Infernal Bolters, Bolt Pistols, Infernal Bolt Weapons. Psychic was a Strength 5. So you're already increasing strength by 1 and you're turning them into psychic. Now, Grand Coven no longer has that, so you can't benefit from that anymore with with where they're at now. However, coming back to the Rhino really quick. The Rhino has a dumb rule where basically you drive the Rhino up and drop off these rubrics. You have the Rhino support by fire onto a target that you want dead.
Yeah.
You just have to hit it.
Yeah.
Then all psychic weapons have a +1 to hit and wound against that target. You save 2 CP, you spend that, now all your bolters are +1 to hit and wound against that target.
Okay. Okay, nice. I will say, there is a flip side of that. There are a lot of abilities that give people feel no pains against psychic attacks.
Yes.
So you have to watch out for those, but that's more of just like knowing your opponent and just conversing with your opponent, like what his abilities are.
And again, like
Or
what
his abilities.
we talked about Grand Coven, that strategem's very niche. It doesn't come up very often.
Yeah.
There are ways to get around it, but that's so many. But if you do the math, that's a lot of AP2, possibly AP3 or 4 bolters coming your way that usually are ignoring cover.
And now they're strength 5 as well.
Yeah.
So strength 5 alone that's pretty strong.
Yeah, and depending on what you're shooting at, that can be a drastic increase in your +1 to wound too.
Yeah.
So there's a reason it costs 2 CP. It's good. It's very good. Next
we have Warhammer Episode 3, Revenge of the Rubricae.
This one's fun. This one's fun because purely, if you lose a psychic model, it doesn't matter if it's your sergeant or not.
I'll give you my child.
It doesn't matter if it's your sergeant or your character within 6 inches of a rubric squad. They can return fire at that unit that killed the sorcerer. So this is a very nifty return fire stratagem that actually kind of comes up more than you think.
Yeah.
It's kind of niche, but when it comes up and you just have, that maybe now 5-man block of Terminators that are still alive, return fire to help because they didn't like that their sorcerer's now dead. Yeah, it gets pretty good.
How dare you?
Yeah. How dare you?
Okay. Then next we have probably one of the the most useful stratagems in my opinion for this is Implacable Guardians. 2 CP.
It is 2 CP.
But
there is one restriction to this.
Yes.
Scarab Occults can't get this. Only Rubrics can.
But why?
Because it just says Rubric Marines.
Rubric Marine Psycho units.
Yes.
Okay.
So Scarab Occults don't get this.
Okay, I see.
However, if you have 2 CP and your Rubric Marine squad's getting domed with a bunch of damage to weapons, reduce the damage by 1. Then their All is Dust rule comes into play, and now they get a +1 to save. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. That would make a Custodes player very sad because all their weapons are damaged too. Ask me how I know.
Most armies, like I said, most armies usually have this is a Marine killer. Like this is such a generic thing to see. This is my Marine killing gun. Having that as a back pocket, the thing that sucks is it's 2 CP, and it's completely fair that it's 2 CP because it is very powerful. But since it is 2 CP, unless you're prepared for it, or you drop your secondary card that turn, you're normally never gonna get it.
Because I guess that's the other thing is that there's a lot of really good strats here. So having the 2 CP, because you have a CP generation unit, something that generates CP, or something that reduces the cost of things.
Yeah. So kind of going tiny back in the core rule, there's nothing really to generate it, and one of the spells that we did lose for core rules was the free stratagem, or reducing the stratagem by 1 cost because that changed. But that's gone. So having 2 CP for them is kind of hard to do. So one thing prepare yourself when you play Thousand Sons. Your CP economy is going to be really hard to manage, but if you can be pretty gross. And now for the very last one.
And finally, we have the Unwavering Phalanx.
Which, that's
1 CP. So, points charge phase just after an enemy ends a charge move.
Oh, -1 to wound.
-1 to wound. That's weird. So it's -1 to wound in melee, pretty much.
So here's the thing is, yeah, that's 2 CP to reduce damage by 1. But sometimes you're just going to get charged.
Yeah.
So just going, hey, -1 to wound in the charge phase, you're going to use that more than your Rubricae Phalanx or your -1 damage, because it's just it comes up more often because it's just only 1 CP. Other than that, this is probably I argue, the strongest one out of them all. You can make an argument for Grand Coven, and you can make an argument for the Warpmeld Pact, but this one is the one that I see getting really stupid with, because I played both Grand Coven and this one, and I can see the power in both. Honestly, it kind of comes down to playstyle.
Yep, it seems like there's something here for every playstyle.
Yeah. So this one I think is really good because this table alone does not show how many rubrics and terminators I actually own.
It's a lot.
Well, I own 50 rubrics and I own 30 terminators. So like, do I want to go stupid? Absolutely. Can I? Yeah. Is it a lot of points and a lot of money? Don't
worry about that. What are you, his bank?
But yeah, it's like the detachment rule is good, but sometimes niche.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah,
because this detachment purely depends on how defensive you're going to be, while Grand Coven is asking how aggressive are you going to be. This one has infiltrating units that you're probably going to hide. Grand Coven has a deep strike twist. That's kind of the difference between the two. Are you aggressive or defensive? Rubricae Phalanx if you're defensive, Grand Coven if you're aggressive.
Though I will say, this can be offensive because you have infiltrating.
Yeah, but you're usually going to hide them first.
Yeah.
Unless you have Armin. But even then, you're still going to hide them because the relocation thing is before you roll for first. So that's Rubricae Phalanx, my favorite, and also just really good. But yeah, this one's a blast.
And this one's Biddy approved.
Pretty much. Kitty cat. Meow, 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 meow.
All right, I think that brings us to the last of at least the Codex detachments, the new ones. And that would be the Warpforged Cabal.
So, slightly underwhelming. Depends on who reads it. Because if you're a Thousand Sons player, you don't own vehicles.
Yet.
The question is will this matter next edition, where you would want to buy vehicles? If you're already a fan, you're probably you already had or bought some vehicles back in the day.
Right.
But you never used them because of the Cabal points. Now that that's changed, this is more useful. This one's more useful just because of the way how spells are casted. So this one is very similar to the Ironstorm detachment from Space Marines. Reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or 1 damage roll for a vehicle. Or
it's and, not or.
If a Psyker's nearby.
Oh, okay.
So if it's vehicles by themselves, or if a Psyker's near them, and then they can re-roll 3. Also, right at the bottom there too, vehicles explode on a 5 if they're 6 inches to 8,000 Sons.
Which is
sorcerer.
It's kind of funny.
Well, because the lore is they're pumping magic into these vehicles, so they're like forcing like demon engines and predators to like shoot better because I cast spell. Like
I cast magic.
So they explode on a 5. Can be useful or not really useful because guess who's within 6 inches of them anyways, giving the buff. It's fine. It's fluffy.
But it just has to be any Psyker?
Any Thousand Sons Psyker.
Any Thousand Sons Psyker. Okay.
So your Psykers are pumping magic into them, and if they get destroyed, they explode on a 5 because you pump so much magic into them. It's all right. It's kind of one of those things of, oh, I bought this Chaos Predator. Well, unless you only had Thousand Sons, you probably use that Chaos Predator for different Chaos Army, like Iron Warriors or something like that. So like a lot of your Chaos vehicles are probably not painted Thousand Sons. And it's fun, it's fluffy, I love the idea of it. It's just like, it's harder to get into.
Yeah.
Because vehicles are expensive.
Though, you know, who doesn't like a good vehicle detachment?
Yeah, so it's just
some of us who like more combined arms, right?
Yeah, so it's fun. Like I don't think any of the Thousand Sons vehicles are bad. It's just one of those things. It's like you probably didn't already have some if you were a Thousand Sons player. And if you're getting into Thousand Sons, you're not getting into it because of a Predator tank, because there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 armies that has Predator tanks.
Yeah, something like that.
So
you've been right for your other counting. I'll assume you're right this time.
So like Thousand Sons, I doubt you would have it for them. Six armies? 6 armies.
He was wrong. He doesn't know how to count.
I thought the Imperial Agents also had one. No? Okay.
No, they don't.
They have a Rhino, that's what it was. Similar chassis, wrong thing. So they're fun. Yeah, it's just like, it's not really it doesn't really call to me as much as some of the other ones, because if you're getting into Thousand Sons, you're getting Rubrics, you're getting Terminators, you're getting Magnus, Mutalithics, the Sekhetar robots, which are the only vehicles that are unique to them.
Oh, those kind of vehicles?
Yeah, they're vehicles and walkers.
That's fun. Okay.
So, going into the enhancements.
First we have
first one?
the Warp Siphon.
Warp Siphon. Actually do not know this one off the top of my head.
Just for, a reminder for the class, Thousand Sons model only. While the bearer is within 6 inches of one or more friendly Thousand Sons vehicle units, each time the bearer channels the warp, so warp your rituals.
Yep.
After you roll the additional d6, but before checking for doubles or triples, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does select one of the vehicle units, that vehicle unit suffers 1 mortal wound and can reroll that additional d6.
Yeah, so
you're
putting mortal wounds on your vehicles to cast better. It's decent.
Yeah.
It's an enhancement, so I guess if you're just trying to pop spells, like, it's a great way to do it, but your vehicles only take so many mortal wounds.
Yeah, adds some reliability, which is always nice.
Yeah, so
it's more useful than the +1 to cast, in my opinion.
And like, yeah, it's all right. Like, I think it's good to, if you're willing to just start putting mortal wounds on vehicles, like, sure. But other than that, yeah, this is probably their least unique detachment, and it kind of shows because it's just vehicles. I'm not going to say I'm upset with it because it is another way to play Thousand Sons. It's just, do you have vehicles? They probably already painted them for something else.
Yeah. As me, I usually like more like combined arms, so this is definitely more the one that would interest me.
Yeah. So,
as I run max defilers, because they're iconic.
So 3 of them.
Max defilers.
3.
I did the same thing. Tomato,
Only
potato.
3. Only 3.
Okay. Still. Max.
The next enhancement.
The perplexing cloak. It's
blown up
if you're within 3 inches of a vehicle. So
you get a Tech Marine rule.
Tech Marine rule without the ability to fix things, but
you get the Tech Marine rule without the other rule, which I think the next enhancement is the Tech Marine rule without the other Tech Marine rule.
Oh, hey, yeah, it is. It's like one friendly Thousand Sun vehicle within 6 inches of this model that gains D3 lost wounds.
Yeah.
So
it's your Tech Marine rule without the other Tech Marine rule.
You get, and that's biomechanical mutation. But yeah, so 2 different sides of the Tech Marine coin.
Yep.
And you're gonna have the psychers next to the vehicles anyway.
And then your last one is
the Warp Cursed Rune Master. While the bearer is within 6 inches of one or more friendly Thousand Sons vehicles, each time the bearer manifests a ritual, while resolving that ritual, add 6 inches to the range.
Yeah, so it's just adding inches to the range of the vehicle nearby. So if you're kind of getting a lore fluff of this, is a little niche unless you read the Thousand Sons Horse Heresies. This is the Order of Ruin, which the Order of Ruin loves their Tech Marines, loves their vehicles, and if you've ever played Horse Heresy, there's a specific cult unit that you can run, which is just a Tech Marine that casts spells on vehicles.
Oh yeah,
so that's what this is supposed to be, which is fun lore-wise. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, this would definitely be what I would run.
Yeah.
But that's me.
So the first stratagem.
All right, so we get on to our next program, which is the stratagems. First is the Hex-marked armor for 1 CP. Let's see. It worsens AP against the vehicle by 1.
It's armor contempt for vehicles.
Yeah.
Specifically vehicles. I would like it more if it was just Thousand Sons, but this is a vehicle detachment, so I guess it's fine.
Now they updated Armor of Contempt so it only works against the next attack, right?
Yeah, this one is actually the phase, if I remember.
This one says the phase.
So this one.
So it don't.
Well,
it
this
doesn't
is
get that change in perpetuity, right?
correct.
Because I forget if that change was specifically for Armor of
For
Contempt.
Space Marines.
Oh,
That was
it's only
specifically for Space Marines.
Marines.
So this one is the phase. You're limited to a vehicle, but it's the phase.
Yeah.
So that's take and give.
Yeah. So okay, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Mutate Landscape. Command phase. Select one Thousand Sons Psyker from your army within range of objective marker you control. Objective marker is mutated and remains under your control until your opponent's level of control over that objective marker is greater than yours at the end of the phase. While objective marker is mutated under your control, each time the enemy unit ends a normal, advanced, fallback, or charge move within range of that objective on a 4-up, they take D3 mortal wounds.
You
put a mind on the point.
you cover the objective in tentacles, and the tentacles attack you in the name of Zeech.
Yep. Tentacle landmines.
Tentacle
which is
landmines.
Very niche. Not unpacking it.
So,
This is probably one of my favorite iterations.
I'm glad you're having joy with this because this attachment is fun. It's just I don't want to buy more vehicles.
Which is fair. But I don't think there's any other stratagem that's like this where you sticky objective that if something goes on the objective, they put a landmine and blow up.
It's a sticky objective with a landmine. So
sure, it's only D3 mortals, but it's every time something moves onto the objective. So you can sticky your center, hold it, anytime somebody goes in, boom, landmine.
Which you're gonna have vehicles, so you're gonna do that to your backfield. And then someone deep strikes it, and then they go, boom. Because usually, unless it's a Terminator squad, it's usually something cheap.
Yeah. Well,
and then you just blow it up, and then
you can do the middle objective. Put your Terminators there. Cycle with the Terminators.
Absolutely.
Landmine, and then when somebody tries to charge the Terminators, landmine, and then you get punched in the nose by a Terminator.
See, as I convinced Scott to play Thousand Sons
All right.
by this attachment.
All right. Somebody buy me 3 defilers. I'm buying you Lance lunch all the time. I'm broke. So 3 defilers, put it on the order.
I try and give you money. Okay?
I know, I'm just messing. You're good.
The pizza was good though, thank you. So, moving on.
Cyber Spirit Machinations. Moon phase just after a Thousand Sun vehicle fallback. That vehicle and one friendly Thousand Sun cycle within 6 inches. They both get fallback, shoot, and charge.
Yep. So, and it's the unit.
Oh wait, no. Until the vehicle unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge. So, it just needs to have a cycle within 6 inches.
Your sorcerer kind of was like, get back over here, like stop charging the enemy line. Like,
Shit.
Like you wrangle the demon inside the engine and pull him back out of the line. So it's handy. You do gotta kind of, it says movement phase, right?
Your movement phase just after the vehicle falls back.
Okay, so you can move a psyker up and then move him back because that's within 6.
Yes.
Because it doesn't say start or anything. Just once he moves, he's nearby, you can pop it.
Yep, you can have the psyker run over. It's like, no, sit,
Like,
put that down. Put that down.
Tell Mauler Fiend, it's like, put it down.
What do you have in your mouth?
Give it to me. So.
Okay, good. Next we have Malevolent Animus.
Okay.
Command phase, select a Thousand Sun vehicle within 6 inches of a psyker. So until the start of your next command phase, your vehicle unit is malevolent. I like how they're like
they're doing the names.
Little name things, right? While unit is malevolent, it can ignore any or all modifiers to the following: weapon skill, ballistic skill, any roll or test made, excluding modifiers and saving throws. So you ignore modifiers.
You ignore all modifiers. You prod the demon inside the
except to damage. It doesn't say damage.
So save and damage, because you prod the demon inside the engine and it starts getting pissed off where it's like, I don't care. So that's kind of its fluff lore to it, which is just fine.
So yeah, if you're fighting somebody who has a bunch of like buff or debuffs, like I don't know.
So when I said I was So when I said like I was kind of semi disappointed or whatever about this, it wasn't purely because of the attachment's bad. I think it's great. I already own enough Thousand Sons to justify, hey, you should build a Zangors list. Hey, you should build a Demons list. And then there's this where it's build a vehicles. And I don't know when any of those would apply in the future meta.
Yeah.
You know, even though it's my favorite army, it's kind of hard to do that sometimes.
All right, next we have Ensorcelled Infusion. Ensorcelled.
So this one
probably is a real word, but it does not sound real.
It's like ensorcelled or enscrolled. Enscrolled infusion. I don't remember how to say it.
No, it's ensorcelled. It's just funny. It's just a funny sounding word.
So you know you're turning psychic bolts or psychic weapons?
Yeah.
This is very similar. It's a little different though. So you might want to read that. Actually.
Yeah. So until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by vehicle models in the unit. So only for ranged.
Mm-hmm.
They gain psychic and add 1-2 wound rolls.
Yeah.
Add 1 wound rolls is good. However, you also get the psychic keyword, which makes it so that there's things that get field against only psychic.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's like your Thousand Sons army, you're going to make it a psychic tank. So I can't be upset when it says +1 a wound.
Yeah, +1 a wound is
tank.
Good. It's just you have to watch out. You have to make sure whatever they're shooting at,
which helps
then get a field.
Which helps your core rule for your re-rolling. Because it's +1 a wound, it's less rolls. So
he speaks wisdom. And then finally we have Warp Flame Gargoyles. Opponent's charge phase, just after enemy unit ends a charge move, 1,000 Sun vehicle with an engagement range of that army, or that enemy unit. Roll a d6 on a 5-up that enemy unit takes 1 mortal, and then they have to take a battle shock.
So this is someone charged, right?
Yes.
So,
it is the South African. You know how in South Africa they have those carjacking flamethrowers.
Yeah.
It's that.
You want to know what that is too? It's reverse tank shock. You ran at me, I tank shock you.
Oh, it's 66. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, it's reverse tank shock.
That's okay.
So
then just to put a little salt in the wound, battle shock.
Yes.
Okay, that's cute. I can dig that.
Which that one's good is if you're holding an objective and you want to hold it and they throw in something to take it, you do mortal wounds and then you try and pop their battle shock. So even if they put you on battle shock, no one owns it.
Yeah.
It's very Zechian trickery. Yeah. If you do it right. So.
Again, we get to the previous issues though that I don't know of anything in this codex that modifies things leadership to make it hard to pass battle shocks.
Reading it over, I saw nothing of that.
However, it's the fact that you still get the 66 mortal wounds on a 5-up with no cap on it.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yep, it works just fine. So, coming to a close, I'm glad you're enjoying this because I think you should probably play Thousand Sons with this now.
Neat.
Because you just bought a 5-man squad of Terminators from me anyways.
Those are for my Alfarius.
And maybe you should
play
all Thousand Sons.
Okay, we're going to start
play the
Thousand
15th
Sons
Legion.
But 5 Terminators
and then just nothing but vehicles
for this. Defilers. Because I think they're cool.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. For me, it's kind of like the same thing. It's like, here's like kind of coming down to the close with the detachments. We're going to talk about the Hexfire as well. Out of all 6 detachments, 3 of them are very like, why are you buying Thousand Sons? You're buying Magnus, Terminators, Rubric, Sorcerers.
Yeah.
Special stuff that's usually special to that Legion anyways. Right. So they're a lot more approachable because you're going to be buying them anyways. Those other 3, which is just fine because they're more hyper specialized, dedicate more onto, why do you not have 120 Zangors? Okay, I'm sorry.
How dare you?
Why do you not own all these Predators and tanks and stuff? Why do you not own demons? And the reason why for me, those 3, you couldn't generate Cabal points with them anyways, and you hindered yourself in doing so.
Yeah, the index, if anybody started with 10th edition and went Thousand Sons for 10th edition, you have to go a bit more wide now.
You
if you want
can
to
go more wide
which is
if you
great,
want to
right?
have. Yeah, absolutely.
It's great that they have all these great options now. It seems there's like something for everybody to try a bunch of different viable ways to play this game or play this army. It's just that really I'm just complaining about the index attachment. Index attachment was rough. And
it was hard.
Boring.
These ones,
so boring.
I'm glad I have more detachments to play and have fun with. My big thing is, and this is kind of like we're going into rumor world, is this codex might be good for only one more year.
Yeah,
we've been in 10th edition for 2 years, and it's just kind of one of those things. It's like when I get to the point of having 120 Zangors to play the detachment, would it matter anymore? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at right now, where it's like I would love to play it. Will I still be able to play it later? Or all the vehicles in the world, will I still be able to play those vehicles later? Because it's meta changes. And then sometimes, like, maybe I'll have to put my Mutalithics back on the shelf. Because last edition, I never used them.
Yep.
And that's just the way how the meta kind of flows. But if you're playing for fun, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Play with what you
Rules are temporary, cool models are forever.
Yep. So, in that justification, buy Predators, buy Zangors, buy Mutalithic Vortex,
Buy Defilers for me.
Like, have fun with it. I'm also coming at it in a standpoint of competitive, because I do go to LVO almost a few years. For the past 2 years. I'm not going this year, but like that's just kind of like the reality of like 40Ks. It's a very competitive scene, but you can play for fun.
Yeah.
And you should play for fun. But yeah, that should finish up that detachment. We have one more, which is the Hexfire, and then we'll move on to Datasheet.
All right, now we've become a grown adult staring at phones channel because we have one more detachment to look at, and that is the Hexwarp Thrallband, also colloquially known as the Grotmus detachment that we got last December for the holidays. It's still applicable. It's still real. You can still use it, as with all these Grotmus detachments that came out before the codexes did.
Funny enough, the most approachable detachment. Why? Because all the rules are free.
All the rules are free, so you can look at it before you have a codex.
So, Hexwarp Thrallband, flow of magic. Your deployment zone is always within your army's flow of magic. At the start of any phase, if you control at least half of the objective markers in No Man's Land until the end of the phase, no Man's Land within your armies. No Man's Land is within your flow of magic. At the start of any phase, if you control at least a half of the objective markers in the enemy's deployment zone, they are also within the flow of magic. Each time a Thousand Sons model within your army makes a psychic attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. If such a model is wholly within your army's flow of magic, each time it makes a psychic attack, add 1 to the wound roll instead. This is holding objectives, gives you buffs. I think it's completely fine. Before Codex, this was garbage. Now reading it with the new ways of with 1, new models, and 2, new core rules, this is actually a lot more viable than you think.
Especially because the reroll 1s to wound just applies to everything.
Yes, that's your psychic stuff.
One of the main reasons why the did not work with the index is that the only units that worked with the index was the Rubric Marines, and the Scarab Occult Terminators.
Right.
And the Rubric Marines already get reroll 1s to wound.
Yeah. And then full rules if it's on an objective they don't own. Which you kind of don't want to own objectives sometimes with Rubric Marines, which is the weird twist of the coin.
Yeah. But also that means like one of the main units in your army did not get benefits from this detachment. So like, why are you running it?
Yeah. This one I still think is pretty decent, just because if you get in the flow of magic, +1 to wound. And I said new models. There's a reason I think this detachment's a lot more valuable. You do need to buy into these models though. It's the new Sekhetar. They're infiltrators.
Oh.
So you throw them 2 small squads into 2 objectives and control the half board, turn 1, or before the first turn. And then you have your No Man's Lands in flow of magic. +1 to wound for psychic weapons.
Yeah.
So you throw Magnus in there and he's already +1 to wound with psychic weapons. Like, Yeah, I can see a very. It's not just shooting; it's just +1 to wound.
Yeah,
psychic weapons. So melee as well.
This is definitely a lot more viable than it was.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more viable, and you know what? It's still fun, it's fluffy. I still enjoy it. First time I played Thousand Sons on the channel, I played it before Codex, and I still enjoyed it where I felt like I wasn't taking a sledgehammer to my opponent's army.
Yeah.
This one, I still think that you could still run it meta-wise, but again, I looked at this as I'm not taking a sledgehammer to my friend's army, honestly.
Yet.
So, it might be different with the new Codex. So, enhancements. We have the first one. Do you want to read it, Scott?
Sure. First one is Arcane Might. Add 1 to strength. 1 to the strength characteristics of psychic weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit. While the bearer's unit is wholly within your army's flow of magic, add 2 to the strength. So that's kind of cute. It's always +1 strength for psychic weapons.
This one's really gross on one particular character.
Oops.
The sorcerer. With his shotgun blast. Think about it.
Yeah.
You do his shotgun blast because that if he's within the flow of magic, 1, he's already +1 to wound on his psychic weapon.
Yep.
2, with his once per battle like pop, he goes from what? He's strength 5 going to strength 6 with this enhancement, going to strength 7 with it, then add 3 to it, it's strength 10.
It's very easy to get to 2-ups.
Correct.
Or
Which
3-ups against vehicle.
Or 4 up against a dreadnought.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
nice.
It's pretty good.
That's kind of cute.
So that one's I think is decent because of one particular character. The next one.
We have an Empowered Manifestation. So while the bearer's unit is wholly within the army's flow of magic, add 6 inches to the range of psychic abilities. The bearer has that specify a range, including the rituals. So it adds 6 inches to your rituals.
Yep.
Which, that's kind of nice. There was a lot of other enhancements that seemed like just the thing they did was add 6 inches.
Yeah.
But this also adds it to psychic abilities too.
Yep.
That's cute. Each solid model in the bearer's unit takes a hazardous test for psychic weapons. You can reroll the results.
There's only one guy, just like the other one, there's only one that I would put this on. It's the Infernal Master. His souped up Screamer spell is +1 to wound, or is hazardous.
Alright. So yeah, just a good ability.
Now you're kind of understanding where I'm going with like why this one's kind of in enhancements, because these are hyper specific. Like this next one.
Yeah, it's like one guy that these are meant for.
Like
next one was the Empiric Onslaught. While the bearer's unit is wholly within the army's flow of magic, add 3 to the attack characteristics of ranged psychic weapons equipped by the bearer.
This one could go to anybody.
Yeah, but it's only for the bearer itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So, of ranged psychic weapons, Sorcerer.
Yep.
Infernal Master's pretty good. The Terminator Lord would be stupid with this, especially if you're trying to kill vehicles and monsters, because he's only 3 shots, going to 6 shots with that. For anti-vehicle, anti-monster, devastating wounds, 2 damage. Yeah, I could see where this one would get stupid. I'd honestly just put it on the normal sorcerer. That's it. The very last one.
The Noctilith Mantle. While the bearer's unit is on the battlefield, it is wholly within, so it always counts as being in the flow of magic, so it always gets the +1 to wound.
Correct.
And that's pretty good.
But he can't cast spells. There's only one person I'd put this on. It's a Terminator Lord.
Oh, did not see the, okay.
Because I'm throwing him in the backfield anyways.
No.
He's going to be hanging out back there the most.
But if he's in your backfield, he's always in your flow of magic.
Enemy's backfield. I'm throwing him in the backfield.
Got it. Their backfield. That makes sense.
Because depending on how the situation goes, I just might not own the midfield or the backfield, or the enemy's backfield. So I might just have this on him anyways. And it doesn't say that his sergeant can't. Oh no, models in this. Yeah, so it's even the sergeant can't, which is the Terminator sorcerer like leader, the sergeant, can't cast the spells either.
But, you're going in there for the +1.
With the +1.
You want to make somebody's day bad.
Correct. So that's that. They're all right. The issue is with the enhancements. There's only one specific person I would put it on, even though you could vary on who you want it on.
Yeah.
There's reasons why you would want to put it on specific people. Going into stratagems though.
Yeah, and stratagems. We'll start with the Warding Hex.
Yep.
Plan phase 1. Thousand Sons Psychic unit from your army within range of an objective marker you control. If that objective marker is wholly within your army's flow of magic, it's
sticky.
It's sticky with riders on it, which is a little annoying.
The reason why this is good is because you want to control objectives for flow of magic. That's it.
Yeah, it lets you walk away. Though if you're walking away from a no man's land objective, you're adding a little bit of risk because that's easier to reach. Also, previous caveat of if you're fighting like GSC or something, don't do that. That's going to be bad.
So this one's Wrath of the Doom. This one's pretty good. It's 1 CP. Both of these ones are 1 CP so far. This one, Wrath of the Doomed. It's a 4-up fight on death. It could be shooting or fighting. It's +1 to that roll if you're within flow of magic, wholly within it.
Yep. So 3-up fight on death.
So 3-up fight on death. It's pretty decent.
So.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's only 5 phase.
Oh yeah.
So you have Terminators that are fighting for their death. You might as well do it. Strands of Time.
Another 1 CP strat.
Now this one's really good. This one's like the Rubricae Phalanx, fallback, shoot, and charge. This one's fallback and shoot, or fallback, shoot, and charge within flow of magic, wholly within flow of magic.
So fallback, shoot, and charge with caveat to it.
Yeah, which honestly it's not bad because I would have used the hell out of that with Terminators. Period.
Yeah, and just fall back and shoot. That's always strong, and then the ability to then get fallback, shoot, and charge.
Yep.
That's pretty good too.
So here's your third way to be uppy downy weird Thousand Sons way.
Is that through the veil?
It's through the veil.
It's through the veil for 1 commandular point.
So 1 Rubrics Marines or Scarab Cult Terminators from your army in strategic reserves. If it is Rubric Marines, until the end of the phase, it has Deep Strike. When you set up on the battlefield using Deep Strike ability, and you can set it up as if using Deep Strike ability. If it is Scarab Cult Terminators, until it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that's wholly within your army's flow of magic and more than 6 inches away horizontally from all enemy models. If it's Scarab Cult Terminators, it cannot charge. This one's niche. You're going to use it on Rubrics, because Rubric can just Deep Strike. Your Scarab Cult Terminators, it's demanding you to be within your flow of magic to drop them, which is what you're not going to drop them to do normally.
Right, because you already control what's in your flow of magic.
Yep.
Because that's just kind of a win more at that point.
Yeah, and I'd rather drop them 9 to bank on maybe getting that 9-inch charge.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more terrifying than, okay, these Terminators fired and now they charge.
Now they're going to punch me.
Yeah. So now we got a dog.
Micah, what do you think of this detachment? Leica approved.
So it's niche.
Yeah,
I would rather use it.
Deep Strike Rubrics. That's pretty nice.
Deep Striking Rubrics the only reason I would use it. And it is 1 CP, so take it for granted.
Yeah.
So Deep Striking a bunch of Rubrics that ignore cover or with flamers. So it's gross. Speaking of ignore cover, Scorching Warp Flame. 1000 Sons Psyker unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase and is wholly within your army's flow of magic. Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have the ignore cover ability. After your unit has shot this phase, select 1 enemy unit hit by 1 or more of those attacks until the end of the phase. It cannot benefit from cover. This is niche.
Yep, because again, this needs to be within your flow of magic, meaning that you're already controlling this area, meaning you're already probably doing well.
The first part is stupid to me. Rubric Marines already ignore cover with the banner. Everything else shooting at it, ignoring cover, with the enemy not being able to benefit from cover is just fine. The issue is with this, let's say, okay, I'm going to shoot at it with a different Thousand Sons Psyker, let's say Magnus, right? Okay, cool. Usually you're going to have Rubrics backing up anyways that are already ignoring cover. So you're spending a CP for everybody else to ignore cover. But if you have nothing but Rubrics, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But if you have nothing but Rubrics, why don't you play Phalanx then?
Yeah, exactly.
Phalanx definitely better. This is definitely more of like a combined.
It's
like
combined arms.
Mixed.
Yep.
And then the Kaleidoscopic Tempest.
Yep. Opponent shooting phases after an enemy unit has selected target 1000 Sons Psyker from your army that was selected as a target for 1 or more of the attacking attacks, blah, blah, blah. Until the end of the phase, your unit has the stealth ability, so the -1 to hit, and if you're within flow of magic, you have the benefit of cover.
Yeah.
Niche.
Yeah.
I like it. Niche.
Yeah. I think the general issue with this detachment, which still stands even with the new codex, is that in order to be in your flow of magic, which a lot of what your abilities riders are, you need to be the primary controller of a zone.
Yep.
Which the land you're going to be fighting over is going to be no man's land, which means if you're controlling the majority of no man's land, you're already kind of winning.
Yep.
So it seems kind of wins more.
So here's the weird thing is with it, it requires 2 specific units in that detachment to make it work.
Yeah.
And one of them's kind of like you can, but you kind of need them to run it. It's Armin and this new Sekhetar.
Yeah, you need to hold you need to grab on and then hold
Never
on
let
to your
go.
life.
And the issue is with Sekhetar right now, they're hard to get.
Yeah.
Unless you're starting and you found one of the boxes, well, good luck for you because I was able to get one as a present. So like, it's just hard.
Yeah.
It's just hard, man. They'll come out eventually, and I know they're gonna come out and be expensive boxes, and that's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's Warhammer. So like, you need your Sekhetar for this to work.
Yeah.
If you don't, this attachment's not gonna work.
Yeah, I think it is viable at least.
So ironically,
with that in mind.
this detachment is a more viable way to run Sekhetar than the vehicle detachment. Because you
I'll
can
agree to disagree on that one.
Well, because like,
well,
unless you're running 12 of them.
can you run 12 of them?
Yes, because you can make them 4-man squads.
Oh, okay.
We don't have that access right now. I have 4 right now. Right now, that's more viable for the Hexwarp. And they're 90 points for only a 2-man squad.
All right.
So I just take it and boom, that's what you're doing. But if you're getting out infiltrated anyways, you're screwed.
Yeah. And I guess also for the vehicle detachment, you get the primary buff when you are
near a
of
psyker.
a psyker and you don't have infiltrating psychers.
Yeah. So
if your goal for them is to infiltrate and play the infiltration game, okay.
yeah. So it's honestly a better way to play them.
Yeah.
I have no issues with it. It's free.
No.
And I think it's still a viable list because when we played it, I had a blast with it. But it is kind of I play this list if I don't want to hit things with hammer.
Yeah.
Because I'm having fun.
Yeah. It's more of a tuned down one. It's more for friendly.
I was just happy that I had it because it was a different way to play Thousand Sons than the 2 years I've had.
Yeah.
Until this book. So can't be angry.
Yeah. So with all the detachments, what would you say the one you like
Rubricae
most
Phalanx.
is? Rubricae Phalanx? Just like strength, fun.
If I had to put them in order, it's Rubricae Phalanx, Grand Coven, the Zangor one,
Okay.
the Hexwarp, and then the vehicles. Oh, and then Demons last.
And Demon's last. Okay.
The only reason Demons are last is just because
You're not happy with the direction they're going with that.
I like the direction they're going with it. It's quite opposite. I like the direction they're going with it. I think Demons should be allied into all of Thousand Sons.
Okay.
Just
okay.
not.
I see what you're saying.
Just not Lords of Change and stuff.
Right.
And it also like, if it was not one detachment, again, it's like the same thing. It's like, oh, why would you not buy a Lord of Change? Well, it's only for one detachment, and if I change my mind, that goes on the shelf. You know?
Yeah.
Versus like the Predator ones, or the vehicle one and the Zangor ones, like they're part of the army.
Yep.
Zangor's more so because that's always going to be part of their army. Vehicles are going to be like touch and go. They're always going to be part of the army, but as you saw with the meta, they were never used until I just now found my rhinos in a box from 4 years ago to paint up to actually play.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things. But no, what do you think? Start Thousand Sons?
Right,
my friend?
I don't know. I don't have a 40k chaos army. I already have the punch him in the face with the custodes. I feel like if any of them, it would be T-Sons. However, you and Jonathan already have it, and I didn't want to be a copycat.
You could be a copycat. It's all about that cult of duplicity, son.
Yeah, so it would either be T-Sons or generic Marines. Generic Chaos-based Marines, just because there's so many options. So
Join the Legion.
we'll see what happens.
But favorite detachment? Vehicle?
I think it's the vehicle. I think, okay, for ones that I would find enjoyable, it would be the Demon detachment.
Okay.
For strength, like if you're trying to bully friends, Oh, I would
Grand Coven.
probably Grand Coven. Probably Grand Coven.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
think at least from like outside looking in, I don't know like all the intricacies of the inside.
Mhm.
Grand Coven seems strong.
Okay, fair enough. But that's all of our detachments. Going into data sheets, we'll kind of go over what's changed.
Yeah.
We won't go over it fully in depth.
Because
We'll touch and go on a lot of these.
we're tired.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah.
You know me, I could go on about this for hours, but whatever.
Yeah. All right. So the data sheets. Let's talk about the totally not Stargate elephant in the room. The Sekhetar robots.
Yeah,
So ever since I've seen them, I think they're neat.
I know a lot of people has been touch and go.
I've seen multiple people complain. I think they're dope, but just let's go to brass tacks. So, like, what about the actual data sheet itself?
So, brief, tiny lore. If you're wondering why these are even a thing, Thousand Sons back in the Horse Heresy used to run a lot of automata. One of the big ones was their Aether automata that they had in that was allied by their Tech Marine, or not Tech Marine. Well, yeah, shepherded by Tech Marines and built by the Mechanicus nearby. But they had a special one where they built ones to emulate their old Spirits of Prospero and also their Tutorlies, which is like their little reflections in the warp sidekicks, and stage them to look like statues in front of places of power during the Horus Heresy and after. So these are immovable robots that pretend to be statues. That's why they're painted white. They look like statues. And they wait until the very last moments to strike to defend like a place of power or a relic or whatever. They are described to be covered in runes and sigils that gives them like powerful obfuscation, like they don't seem natural. Like they'll move out of the corner of your eye, but they're actually still moving at you. Like they're stealthy and stuff like that. And are also described to articulate to take the blow for a sorcerer that's about to get shot. They are so revered and sanctified that Thousand Sons refuse to let demons near them. They will not let a demon possess their sacred Sekhetar robots.
Okay, I did not know that part.
It's actually kind of cool. So like they're highly revered as machines of war by the Thousand Sons, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and it looks like to reflect that, they got a pretty good stat line.
Yeah,
8-inch
so
move.
their 8-inch move, their T6, 3 up, 5 up on their saves. Their 4 wounds a pop. Their leadership is 6.
7.
7. Yeah, 7. And then their OC is 1.
Just 1.
So they're not doing it. They're not gonna really hold an objective, but what they can do is, like we talked about, they are infiltrators. They infiltrate.
That's the only
stealth.
infiltrator in your army, right?
Correct. They're the only
The only way
infiltrator.
to infiltrate, and infiltrate is a very powerful ability to have.
Yeah. There's one way, like we talked about in the Rubricae detachment, where you can do it with Terminators and Rubrics and stuff. And Sekhetar just naturally do it anyways. So like in Rubricae Phalanx, you can get really stupid and deep strike 3 squads of 4 and then a Terminator squad or 2 Rubrics and just own the middle board.
Mm-hmm.
How well that's going to work out for you, it depends on who you're fighting. But they are pretty tanky. They got a possess stat line with an additional wound and a less leadership.
Yeah.
Just fine with me.
Yeah, like T6 and 4 wounds, like that's pretty good. 4 can be kind of awkward to get through.
Yeah, plus they infiltrate and their stealth, like.
So yeah, the -1 to hit all the time.
Yeah, if they're gonna be infiltrators, they might as well have stealth. Like that's kind of like a good like package to have.
Yeah.
Their big thing is, we'll talk about their ability at the end because I want to get through the weapons first to let you kind of grasp how stupid they can be. So they're on their actual bodies, they rock. One of their arms is a double barrel heavy flamer. So they actually rock a giant heavy flamer that is strength 5, AB 2 damage, or 1 damage.
1 damage, yeah. But still.
It's D6 shots. So if you have 2 of them, it's 2d6,
yeah.
4d6, stuff like that. they also have the Hellfire Missile Rack, which is the thing that the Terminators run. And it's funny, Terminators can only run 1 per 5-man, 2 for 10-man, and they have them just on 2 of them.
Yeah. So you have 2 of them, 36-inch range.
Yep.
2 attacks.
They hit a little bit worse than Space Marines because they hit on 4s, but that's still a AP2 or Strength 10 AP2 3 damage rocket.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it's pretty good at doming like Terminators and stuff. Just
Yeah.
boom.
And now the weapon options they can have, their other hand is either a Power Claw, which is Strength 10 AP2 3 damage, and a underslung like Projector Flamer, which is like a hand flamer stat line.
Mm-hmm. So
Nothing crazy, but it is AP1, so that is not too bad. Or you could pick the how's it pronounced? The Hexflux.
Higher Flux Meltagun.
The Higher Flux Meltagun,
which is a Meltagun.
but it's Strength 10. It is a Strength 10 Meltagun.
Oh damn.
Versus almost every other Meltagun is Strength 9. This one's Strength 10. Why do you think I had such a hard time building them? Because I didn't know which ones I wanted more.
Yeah,
They're both
that's
really
fair.
good.
That is fair. Are they easy to magnetize or no?
They're easy. They're very easy to magnetize. I had 4, so I built 2 of each.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fun. I enjoyed them. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
Now their ability, and there's a reason why they have so many flamers. They can Overwatch for free or heroically intervene free once per battle round.
Which is kind of cute. So it seems like in order to fully leverage it, it seems like the better thing to have is the claw with the underslug flamer over the Meltagun.
But if you spike those Meltas,
If you spike
especially on a vehicle that's trying to do stuff like that, it's great. I absolutely love it. I have a hard time picking. Both are really good options. You know what? Pick your poison.
Yeah.
Do you want them to be because honestly, it is kind of the claw. Because if you don't Overwatch, you heroically intervene with them for claws.
Yeah, and the claw is Strength 10 AP2 2 damage with 3 attacks.
Yeah. Did I say 3 damage? It's 2 damage.
2 damage. It's cute.
So they're gross. They're 90 points per 2-man, 180 per 4-man. So they're actually pretty decently costed for what you could use them for. And depending on which detachment you run, you kind of need them. Like the Hexwarp that we talked about, you need them.
Yeah.
Like actually run the detachment.
Infiltrate is a very strong ability, and you should. Maybe this is just me projecting. I think you always need 1 infiltrate at least.
Yeah, it's always good to have 1, and they're 90 points that you can throw into a.
Worst thing you want is like a turn 1 established locus or something.
Yep, and hey, cleanse. Like
turn 1.
There you go.
Anything that requires you be in the midboard, infiltrate is a godsend for those.
So, and they're funny because they're kind of you don't want to be aggressive with them, but near the end of the game when things start dying and like weaker models start becoming strong, they're tough compared to that. When there's only a few models left on the board, and they're big chunky boys. That's the new addition to the army. Absolutely, I love them. I think they're great. Their lore's cool. Their models are actually really cool. Like I get like a lot of people don't like them. They're actually pretty small compared to a normal Marine. So if you kind of want a grasp of how small they actually are, they're not that big.
Okay, they're still bigger than a normal Marine.
They're still bigger than a normal Marine. But
okay, I thought you were about to say they're like small.
Oh, they're not that small. Like they're still not as big because they're only on 40mm bases.
Okay, fair.
I thought they were like 50s and like a little bit bigger, but actually for infiltrators, they're just fine that size.
Perfect.
Going into quick changes.
Yeah, let's just. There's 23 pages of data sheets here, so we're not going to go through all of them, right? We're going to go through the broad swaths of things, and it seems like across the board, one of the things that you see across a lot of these data sheets is weapons have additional AP compared to what they used to.
Kind of. So, just real quick with Armin and Magnus, like, with Armin and Magnus, their stat lines, their abilities have changed. Their stat lines stayed the same. Where now it's just +1 to cast for Armin, +2 to cast, and Magnus can cast 2 abilities for him, versus like the +1's wounds and free Cabal rituals and stuff like that. Like, Stuff like that. Other than that, Magnus and Armin stayed the same. Armin's shooting is now different. It's a blast gun instead of a precision gun for Psychic.
Yeah.
It's all right. Oh, he's also permanently on Discus each now. You can't pick.
Oh, nerd.
So he's 100 points. Have fun. Going into all the other characters, this is where they kind of shook them up a little bit the most. Infernal Master's still the same.
His little like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Dual pose.
The Exalted Sorcerer is, for the most part, still the same as well. It's the Sorcerer and the Exalted Sorcerer on Discus each where they kind of got a little bit of a shakeup. I just want to talk about the Sorcerer really quick because he's stupid. They changed his ability where he used to be a sneaky boy, where you couldn't shoot at a unit within 18 inches. Now that's gone. Now he still has the lethal hits that he gives the squad. But he also, once per game, can pick a shooting or fighting attack for the psychic weapon to add 3 to the strength and 3 to the attack too. If you look at his range profile, it is 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 5, AP 1, 1 damage.
Yep.
So 9 attacks.
9 attacks.
Going to strength 8, AP 1, 1 damage.
Okay, cute.
Sustain hits 3.
That's kind of fun. That's kind of cute. All right.
Oh.
So he has the best day ever.
So he has his best day ever shotgun blast. And if you pair him up with a Rubric Squad and a Rhino, it gets stupid with that +1 to hit and wound.
Okay.
The Exalted Sorcerer on Discus each is a little bit different now. He still has his Torrent Flamer gun. It's his abilities that are different. I still think he can slow things down.
Let's see.
Yep.
Leading a unit can only select. So it gives him like the 18-inch, like the long range, lone op. I don't know if he had a good colloquial term for that, but
he kind of took the normal sorcerer's rule and made it his own, and then he has the reduced movement.
Yeah, if he hits something with his one of his ranged attacks, it gives him -2 to move and -2 to charge.
Yep. So nothing exceptional, but it's decent.
Movement control is always good.
Yeah.
And it's an 18-inch range on that attack too, so you have a little bit of reach out with that.
Yep. And it's while he can lead a unit, he can do it too. So
yeah.
He also, Armin and him can be attached to enlightened Discus each Zangors.
Oh.
So you can have him run around and do objectives with Zangors and give them...
And slowing people down so they don't bully the Zangors.
Also be harder to shoot outside of 18 inches. So, it's not bad.
Yeah, alright. Looks like next we got the Demon Prince. And like with a lot of these books, Demon Prince and Demon Prince with Wings are 2 separate data sheets now.
Right, so that's still kind of the same. Nothing too crazy on them. I would say, real quick, if I just gotta look, real quick. It's just the normal Demon Prince has something stupid. So the one on Wings has Aether Stride. So he can basically do a 3-inch deep strike, can't charge, but he gets sustain hits 3 on his psychic weapon with a +1 to hit, I believe. Nothing too crazy. I would say you wouldn't take him over the normal Demon Prince, even though the normal Demon Prince is more expensive. Purely just because the normal Demon Prince has a funny rule. If a Psyker dies within 9 inches of him, he gets a +1 to his cast to a max of 3.
Yeah, that's cute.
So there's a funny combination where you put an Exalted Sorcerer in a Rubric Squad, kill the Sorcerer first every single time they get shot at, bring the Sorcerer back every revival in the command phase, so that this guy can... It's stupid.
Alright, that's kind of
I would never do it purely because I just don't own the model, and nor do I care.
Yeah.
The Terminator Lord...
Yep,
the Sorcerer.
Terminator armor.
I feel like is a little slept on. He's actually really easy to kit bash. If you own more than 5 Terminators, it's easy to kit bash him with the Sorcerer kit or the Terminator kit. I think he's a blast. Just giving Terminators lethal hits. And after he's shot at something, he can pick that target and everybody else gets a +1 to hit against them.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So it kind of lays the target for everybody else.
Yeah, and then he's got one more. And
no, that's everything.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
So he gives them lethal and then he can pick a target after he's shot, +1 to hit. That he's specifically shot at. So it's kind of, he can't give it to his own squad.
Right.
It's fine.
Well, it's fine.
It's just fine.
You have other ways to get +1 to hit on things too.
Yep.
So
we talked about Sekhetar. Sekhetar good. Scarab Occult
Occults.
Terminators. If you need to know anything about the rubrics and the Scarab Occult's old bolters are now AP2. They got their old bolt guns back. It is stupid how good they are with their AP2 bolters back. And in this edition, where AP1 is kind of like really good at the beginning of the edition, now that they're AP2, it's really good.
Mm-hmm. And they do have the -1 to wound if they're.
Yep.
And it's not -1 to wound asterisk, it's just straight -1 to wound. And they're
So
T5,
long as the sorcerer's in the squad.
Yeah.
And they're still T5. One thing you will notice is with the Scarab Occult Terminators and the rubrics, their sergeants have 1 additional wound. The reason for that, and I think the reason for that, I believe, is because originally when they were writing the rules, it wasn't supposed to be the units that take the mortal wounds. It was supposed to be just the sorcerer. But here's the tricky part about it, and why I think they changed it, is because once that sorcerer takes the wounds, he has to take the wounds after the fact. You know?
Yeah.
So I think they changed that, probably for the better, but I have 1 additional wound on my my sergeants now.
Yeah, which you see for the Rubric Marines as well.
Yep. For the Rubric Marines, nothing crazy changed. AP2 bolters. The banner no longer gains an additional AP on 6s. It's just straight ignore cover.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you run flamers, it doesn't matter. If you run bolters, it matters a lot. And Soul Reaper cannons too. Soul Reaper cannons also gain an additional AP, so they're AP2 as well. And they still have their devastating wounds. Pretty easy, pretty quick.
And then we have the various Rhino chassis.
Yep.
Like the Predator Destructor.
So Predator Destructor and the Annihilator, very similar stat line. If you have the run the Destructor, additional AP on infantry. If you run the Chaos Annihilator, additional, I think it's a reroll to hit against monsters and vehicles. But specifically, you have to hit it with a psychic weapon first. So a psychic actually has to like
oh, that's weird.
kind of like point it out to the vehicle.
Hey, see that?
Hey, kill that guy.
Shoot him.
Yep. So
Blast him.
So it's specifically for that. Notably, for the Destructor, I would put heavy bolters on it, because once you do that and you shoot at infantry, it is now AP3 heavy bolters.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
So-
all right, I see what we're saying.
And even if you run the Annihilator with heavy bolter sponsons, it's still heavy AP2 heavy bolters,
Yeah,
because they're infernal heavy bolters.
yeah.
The Chaos Rhino is something that I want to talk about.
Do you want to talk about the fact that the picture of the Rhino has a bayonet on the little...
So does mine. It's in the other box.
Why does it have a bayonet on the freaking pintle gun?
Hey,
What were
man.
you bayoneting from the pintle?
Drive me closer. I want to hit it with my bayonet.
All right, Warhammer. All right, Games Workshop.
So for them, a little bit of a note I need to make sure about the equipment is it's worded very weird. I believe you can run 2 Storm Bolters and a Havoc Launcher with it, because even in the app it allows you to build it that way too.
All right. Inferno Combi Bolter and Armored Tracks can be equipped with one of the following: 1 additional Inferno Combi Bolter, 1 Inferno Combi Bolter. Combi weapon, sorry.
Yep.
So it can, and then it can be equipped with 1 Havoc Launcher, or it can replace 1 Combi Bolter with 1 Havoc Launcher.
It also lists it as a separate thing, so you can replace a Combi Bolter, or you could just add the Hellfire, the Havoc Launcher. It's stupid. So you could technically have 2 Storm Bolters and then a Havoc Launcher.
All right.
It's a weird little niche thing that I was reading it and I was like, it says both. It's just saying that, yeah, you can build it that way.
Yeah, it's a surprising amount of firepower for a Rhino.
Yeah, and it's an Infernal Combi Bolter
So it has AP2
and Rapid Fire.
and rapid fire.
So you can run up and shoot 8 shots at a Infernal Combi Bolter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Hellfire, and then not Hellfire, but the Havoc Launcher, D6 shots, Strength 5, no AP. It's decent.
Yeah.
What I care about is hitting the target with any of those shots. Any units that disembarked from it that turn after it's hit a target is +1 to hit and wound for psychic weapons. And the Rubric detachment that's really good with that Stratagem Combine. Or
I'm seeing what you're saying.
yeah,
I'm seeing
or
what
if
you're saying.
you did Grand Coven or any other detachment, you run not 1 squad of Rubrics, but 2 squads of Rubrics with a character attached to each.
Yep.
And then you buff it that way.
Yeah.
The Vindicator Nothing really to talk about.
Just a Vindicator.
It's literally the Vindicator, same rule.
It's good. No different rules. No hokey. They get Havoc Launcher. Is that a thing you normally get with a Vindicator?
It's a Chaos Vindicator.
No,
you get it with a Chaos Vindicator.
It's just a Vindicator. So, a Chouse Land Raider.
It's a Chaos Land Raider.
Oh, yep. Nope. Just
the only difference is it's got heavy bolters, infernal heavy bolters.
So AP2 heavy bolters, which that's cute.
Yeah. It's all right. The Hellbrute's cool.
Hellbrute, because they've been doing something a little bit different every cult marine with these Hellbrutes, right?
I like their old rule, but it doesn't apply anymore. So this one's just written differently. Where it's like, man, I don't like it because I like their old rule where it was like bumbling madness from a aspiring sorcerer that the Legion tricked into becoming a Hellbrute. Versus this one, it's not as fun. I'll be honest, it's a Hellbrute. Nothing really changed too much. The only difference is with this is it does have access to the heavy Infernal Bolter that is twin linked, and you also get the underslung Infernal Bolters as well.
Yeah.
For the claw.
And then it looks like if it hits something, it takes a battle shock test at -1 if there's a Thousand Sons Psyker within 9 inches of that unit that you're making battle shock.
So
again,
fun
battle shock ability.
And it does
hard to make work.
It does say it doesn't without specifying, if it just has 2 melee weapons, it gets the rerolls instead of 2 fist rerolls.
No, it's 2. If you have 2 melee weapons, you get 2 additional attacks.
Yeah, so it doesn't say fist. So you do Scourge and then fist if you want.
All right.
So it's not rerolls, it's additional attacks, but yeah.
All right.
If you like Space Marine 2, it's the only reason you have one, and it's probably the only reason I will buy one.
Then we have Forge Fiends and Mauler Fiends, the Fiend Fiends.
I'll be honest, I didn't read too much about them.
Oh, okay. Forge Fiend, blazing salvos in the shooting phase after this model has shots like one enemy unit hit by 1 or more attacks. Till the start of the next turn, the enemy unit is suppressed, so -1 hit. So it suppresses things. That's pretty bog standard.
If I remember, they're very similar to Chaos. No, not normal Chaos Space Marines, because Chaos Space Marines have it a little bit differently for the Forge Fiend. The Mauler Fiend is Advance in Charge.
Heroic Intervention for 0 CP.
Yeah, all right, it's okay.
Yeah, so 0 CP Advance in Charge, that's pretty, or Heroic Intervention, that's pretty good. So you can use it to bully and bodyguard things.
Yeah. The Defiler, it looked fun. It's just a hard model to find, get, and build, and paint, so I have really no interest.
It has a 6-up feel, no pain.
It is a 6-up feel.
They can walk over things that are 4 inches or shorter.
Yep.
Which that's kind of cute. Destroyer of Futures, which is a very cool name. Fire Overwatch. If it fires Overwatch, hits on 5s. Yep. For each of those attacks, the target enemy within 9 inches of a Psyker, they hit on 4s.
Yep. So
4-up Overwatch.
It's 4-up Overwatch, which unfortunately you can't spam.
Yeah, but
fortunately you can't spam because
the
difference is
get rude.
The difference is why I would never run him for Overwatch wise is I have Sekhetar,
which is fair.
So also his kit's also just that much harder to get. I'm not gonna say his stuff isn't better Overwatch wise. I just have Sekhetar infiltrators instead.
Okay.
And also he's like 300 points? No.
Oh, I have no
200 something points?
No, I have no idea. I don't know. I think they're neat.
I think they're
iconic.
Neat. They need new kits.
That's an icon. No, I think they're charming just the way they are.
They need new kits.
Yeah, you're full of shit.
Helldrake.
Helldrakes.
We love Helldrakes. I'll never paint one because it's annoying. They're great. It's a fly vehicle. We all know what's wrong with fly this edition.
Yeah, fly's kind of doo-doo.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I love it. Like I hope they get better because I love the Helldrake. It's just the unfortunate thing about that edition. The Chaos Spawn.
Chaos Spawn. Oh, that's kind of funny. So they'll file the pain, and every command phase, not just yours, they get back 3 wounds.
Yeah, and they're 4 wounds. So they always heal.
That's cute. All right.
The Shaman's fun. He's got a little blast
Zangor
psychic
Shaman
weapon.
specifically.
Yeah, the Zangor Shaman's fun. He's a 5-up, 5-up, moving because he's on disc all the time. He's got a blast psychic weapon for Shoosties, and he's got his staff. While he's leading the unit, I always forget what he does.
It gives him +1 to hit. Just to hit.
Yeah.
Doesn't say for shooting or melee, so just +1 to hit. That's pretty good. And then Sacrificial Blessing. While this model is in a unit in your shooting phase and fight phase, each time that you select to shoot or fight that, this model can use this ability. If it does, select one bodyguard model in that unit. The bodyguard model is destroyed, and until the end of the phase, add D3 to the attacks and strength characters so weapons equipped by this model. So he can murk his buddy and then buff himself.
Yeah, which is funny because you can buff himself and then sacrifice your Zangors in the same detachment. Yeah, you remember when it was like, hey, you can bring back Zangors for a strategy? This is why. Yeah. So,
no. Neat.
Next is Zangors.
Zangor Enlightened.
The Enlightened. The only difference between the two is the Enlightened have a precision spear. The ones with the bows have precision bows. The bows are honestly better.
And it looks like bows have a T6 reactive move.
Yep, and the other ones have a belly bump, which, if you don't know, it's mortal wounds in the charge.
That's kind of cute. All right.
I feel like it's just not enough for them to want to. Like, you're going to do mortal wounds in the charge.
They're going to die.
Yeah.
But
the normal Zangors, it's arguably better to run them with auto pistol and chainsword just because of more attacks versus strength. And then at the end of it, they can be picked up at the end of the enemy's turn to be put in strategic reserves. It's fun. It's fluffy. You can start moving Zangors where you need them to, if need be.
They do not have deep strike, so they will have to come in from the board edge.
Correct. And they also have, you can give them the banner and the horn. It's the horn's rally tests, the banner is charges, I believe. Or no, the horn is charges, and then the banner is rally tests.
+1 to rally.
Yep, +1 to rally. Yeah. So nothing too crazy there.
All right. The Mulith Vortex Beast.
Yeah, this is probably what you're going to run as your vehicles. If you're running like an armor.
But it's not. It's a monster.
Correct.
So it's not a vehicle.
But it's what you would use as like your tank.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
T10, toughness 10, or movement 10, toughness 10, 4 up, 5 up, 13 wounds, 6 up leadership, 4 OC.
Okay.
He has 3 different shootings. He's got a torrent, like heavy flamer.
Or a blast.
He's got a blast, Space Marine Killer, which is like strength 6, AP 2 damage.
Strength 9, AP 2 damage.
Yep, and then he's got his big laser beam, which is a
strength 18.
Which is 1 shot, strength 18, AP 3, D6 plus 6 damage. Devastating wounds if you spike it.
Yeah, that's cute. It hits on a 3 up though, so you're never gonna hit with that.
Yeah. So, and then you have your if he's within 6 inches of an enemy unit, roll a die on a 2 to 3, 1 mortal wound, 4 and 5, D3, a 6, D6 mortal wounds on enemies, and then they take a battle shock. Yep.
And it's for everyone within 6 inches.
Is it everybody or just enemy? It should be just enemies.
Nope, for each enemy unit within 6. Well,
enemy
for each enemy.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, misunderstood what you said.
No, you're good. And then if a psyker's nearby, +1 to cast.
All right.
That's why you run them.
Neat.
I didn't read too much on the demons because it was kind of hard with the 1 detachment. They're a little different from how they run in their actual demon counterparts. Kairos Fateweaver, if I remember correctly. He's the one that generates UCP. He generates UCP.
Really? It's just him.
Yep. Only in 1 detachment though.
All right, great. All right. And then
he reduces makes a CP
he increases the costs
within
of
12.
CP within 12. So
one head looks forward, the other one looks back, because Kairos can't see the present.
Nerd.
Quite literally, he cannot see the present.
Nerd, you gotta live in the present, okay?
He never will.
Nerd. Lord of Change.
And just to go over their kind of stat lines, they move 12, they fly, toughness 10, 6 up armor, 4 up invul, 18 wounds, 6, 5. Like, they're decent. Mm-hmm. The Lord of Change, I remember, was actually just a little bit better, honestly. Because he could do some stupid psychic shooting.
Let's see. Yeah, he's got some decent shots. And then he has 6-inch aura for scintillating legions. They get +1 strength to their range attacks. That's kind of fun.
Yep.
And then in shooting phase, select one of the following. It can either give itself ignores cover, lethal hits, or sustain hits.
Yep.
For its range attack.
which, looking at his ranged attacks, is actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
If you're running demons, you're running them. This is kind of what it's at. The flamers, being able to fall back and shoot with their torrent. They got their flamethrowers back. They're actually torrent weapons now, which is funny. It's decent. Nothing crazy there. The screamers are little bombers. When they fly over stuff, they do mortal wounds. At Battle Shock, I believe. I think it's just mortal wounds.
Just mortal wounds.
It's just mortal wounds. So they're all right.
There's not a ceiling to it. After this unit ends, a normal move, select one enemy unit moved over. So yeah, no, you roll 1d6 for every model in the unit on a 4-up to take a mortal. And there's no.
And there are six of them in the squad that you can. It's a 3 to 6 in the squad. Topped with the. Their bites are actually anti-monster, anti-vehicle, so take that for what it's worth, because they're actually pretty mean.
Yeah, AP 2 for 2. That's not bad.
Yep, Lamprey bite. The pink horrors are the stupid part, because who cares about their abilities, their shooting, whatnot? You care about their abilities. For every time you lose a pink horror, roll a die on a 4-up. They split into 2 blue horrors. Every time you lose a blue horror, roll a die. They split into a brimstone. This is tar pit, and not a lot of armies do that very well like them.
Yep.
You can potentially rock 50 wounds on these guys, right?
It's funny. No.
Yeah, 50 wounds on these guys. Why? Zangors or pink horse.
Yep. And finally, the blue horrors,
which are connected. Same data sheet.
Yep, same data sheet. So they split. So if you bring just blue horrors, they'll still split into brimstones on a 4.
The reason they're 2 separate data sheets is you can bring either pinks and then split them into blues, or you can bring blues and go the other way. Right?
Yeah. And then while enemy units within 6 inches of this unit, if this unit contains 1 or more blue horror models, worsen. So at -1 leadership. Oh, there's your -1.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, they're in your 1 detachment that you can only run them in.
And then exploding. Oh, they explode too. So
the brimstones explode.
He's like 1 enemy unit. It's like 1 or more brimstone models. For each brimstone model, you select.
Yes.
Okay. So for the one that starts as blue horrors, you can pick every model you can pick on a 4-up. They blow up and do a mortal.
Correct. It's a shame that you can't ally them in anywhere else. I understand why sometimes. Like the Lords of Changes and stuff, but I'd like to be able to run 1 or 2 pink horror squads in my list just because it's thematic. But it's whatever.
Yeah.
This should be the end of the data sheets. Just a quick touch on the Crusade. Quick touch. There's for Crusade. If you know anything about 9th edition Thousand Sons, their 9 cults are back. You can play. You pick a character, they've come from one of those cults, and at the end of every battle, they pick up amongst each other to see who gets the rewards.
Which is fun.
That's it. And they have all their other fluffy stuff, but that's kind of the big one. And if you mess up as a sorcerer, you turn into a chaos bot. But that's really Crusade. Nothing too crazy on that. I haven't played a lot of it, but that's all the data sheets and everything.
Okay, so final thoughts. Where do you rank this on strength? High, low, mid?
9.
A
9 for each.
9 for each out of 10, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay. How about the fun factor, though?
9.
Still a 9?
In my opinion, it's a 9. I've always just had fun with Thousand Sons, so it's a little bit of bias, but fun factor 9.
Yeah. And then, finally, how much does it actually capture the Tzeentch? How much does this feel like it's Thousand Sons?
Shockingly a lot. Like I said, 9.
9?
Kind of just 9 for Tzeentch in general.
9 for Tzeentch?
It's actually shockingly very fluffy.
Yeah.
I know it's very powerful, but it's not like to be fair, like their army rule is kind of dumb. They're strong, but in lore they're also like that too. So fun, fluffy. I enjoy them.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much nonsense as Death Guard.
Yeah. But even Death Guard, it's all fun, fluffy. So.
Okay. So, all right, there you have it. Thank you guys for joining us for our first Codex review. Please be sure to like and subscribe. That lets us know if you guys want to see more of this content. If you want to hear more of our rambling about these codexes as they come out, it lets us know that this is worth our time because we want to make a product that's good for you guys and something that you enjoy. So please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this far, and
we will see you come next time.
bye.
Bye bye.